Thanks for everything.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, recording now, but yeah, absolutely. So as you guys all see, we got Chris Gamble back. What do we do? Two or three parts last time, Chris? Do you remember? I remember. Two?
You split it in two because I was in, chatty
Yeah.
catty. Remember?
Yeah, and but we did them all in the same evening, right?
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did. We just had to
Because since
split it up.
then, you got a new phone since then. What I have done, my cheapo ass, I paid for the Zoom, so there's no time limit on them now, not on the paid version. Before with
Nice.
the freebie version, there was a it was 40-minute or 45-minute limits. Now the only actually wasn't I wasn't being a cheapo about it. The only reason I didn't want to buy it because you have to buy it per the year. I wasn't sure how often I was going to use it. You know what I mean? Because believe it or not,
Understand.
believe it or not, dude, a lot of people they turn them down, dude. I could name 10 people off the top of my head. I won't name their names. Some people know because I've called them on the channel. Where I've asked for interviews, they just turn it down for like, and it's usually the stupidest reason in the world like, oh, I'm not really good at talking. What do you mean you're not good at talking, dude? How do you get by in life? What the fuck? You don't speak? Like, you just a reclusive weirdo? So,
And when you're a
that's
musician
not
in the music
uncommon.
business, yeah, when you're an entertainer, you got to kind of expect that's going to happen. It just goes with the territory. Just
Yeah,
goes with the territory. It's a natural thing. And I don't shut up. So I'm
yeah.
with you on
Neither.
it.
No, I'm glad. I like when I get guys that don't shut up because a lot of them is me talking the whole time, and people point out it's like shut up and let the guy talk. I was like, first off, a few things. Let's You get on here and do interviews and let's see how good you do it, buddy. And second off,
Hmm.
I don't even like to call these interviews, just like I like to preface it to the guys that are scared to come on or don't want to come on. I was like, they're not interviews, they're conversations. That's it.
Exactly.
And I like
And
to
they
have them
actually
as
wind up being better.
yeah. Well, the reason I like conversations is number one, I'm not like a professional interview guy. I didn't go to school. I don't know what's proper. I'm just a fan at the end of the day. And I like the raw, just unedited, unscripted, just shooting the shit. And as anyone knows me or doesn't know me, but everybody does this to an extent. Maybe I do it more often than the average person. If you're having a conversation with me in person, I tend to cut people off. That's just my personality. Some people like that. So it's my real. That's how I talk with a conversation. Like if I was just to meet Joe Blow, you know what I mean? So and those are how my videos are. They're conversations. But I do less cutting off when the person is talkative, like you said yourself, because a lot of times I cut off because I want to almost get in when I have to say next because I could tell the person's stalling. And I just don't want any down gap time where it's just uncomfortable silence, to say the least, for the
Yeah.
video.
People will tune out. I mean, because
Yeah.
I watch a lot of stuff like that. I'm fascinated with everybody that I'm into, and I'm fascinated by hearing a lot of perspectives, especially in our music scene, because our opinions, man, all of us, we're very harsh individuals when it comes to really what we like and what we want to do. So
Right.
I'm fascinated by the contrast of a lot of things. I just am. I
Yeah.
find it fascinating. So the more a person's willing to talk about it, even it, I don't see it as a quirk or a mistake. It's you're getting that personality.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. I find it enjoyable, And if you
Yeah.
like it, like you say, you tune out. If you don't, you stay and listen. But most of the time, if a conversation's going, you stick around. If
Yeah.
you got really something, palatable enough to say.
Yeah. I got
So
to
yeah,
be honest
I'm with
again.
you.
I don't want to be too malicious because I don't want to, totally scare away the guys that are denied, even though I guess it doesn't matter because they already denied, said no for whatever reason, respectively, so they say it. But I just got to be brutally honest. I think anybody that denies an interview on a platform that has decent exposure, I
Right.
just got to say it, man, is a fucking moron because we're considered the geezers, especially yourself. You're the geezers, but you at least get it. Like whether you like it, love it, or hate it, the way to expose anything you're doing now is all social media. It doesn't matter if you
It's
like it, love it, or hate it.
That's just the way that the world is now. I mean, it's not like you call your friend on the phone. You
Right.
got to go to the record store, True Leather Espresso in your sneakers with your buddies down the street and take that journey. The journey's click. What's going on, man? That
Yeah.
simple. It's just
Yeah.
a different world. And that's, I can operate in that. I'm fine with it because my head and my mind don't change. I probably got more rapid fire with it in some degrees, I guess. Because I've been told that once in a while I could tell if I'm too much for somebody, especially in a workplace, if they
Mhm.
ask the question. But one of the things I find fun too about being a school bus driver is kids are so inquisitive because they want to know. Their little minds are sponges.
Mhm.
And I remember being that young, going to art school and loving music. Put the stereo on, you just sit and draw and read your comics, and you're just hearing those tunes in the background. But you get it; it stays with you. It's such a stamp on your bones your whole life. I could never walk away from it. If anything, I want it more, and the more perspective I find, especially out of younger people, it really it keeps me sharpened in a sense where I find myself so much more, my roots get deeper and grounded so much more on what I absorb and like. Because those little minds that are inquisitive, it generates an excitement for me that
Mhm.
I could see. I could see the excitement. You know, I think when it's older people, we're set in our ways. We just are. As
Yeah,
soon as you tell
100%.
somebody their style sucks or their sound sucks or their band sucks, I'm the kind of person I like it 3 to 4 times more.
Mhm.
Because that's just what I come from. That's the world I'm in.
Yeah.
And maybe it is my age, but I, I like it. I found that, well, like you say yourself, people that are afraid that they'll dodge an interview or conversation. I come to find out more people dislike me than like me, and I've known that in my agoraphobia years. That's just the way it is, man. And I
Oh, dude,
figure,
I'm the same thing. Dude, I'm in the exact same boat as you, dude.
yeah, I see that.
More people definitely dislike me than like me. And the thing is like and I'm not trying to scare off viewers or fans or anything like that. I'm just honest. I tell it how it is. It's like a lot of you like, especially the party animals and the younger guys. It's like
Yeah,
you got to know me. I was like, Lindsay said it before. It's like, yeah, your fans like you, but it's like 90% of them, if they got to know you, they would not like you. It's not because you're an asshole. It's just because your lifestyle, your discipline, your regimen, they'd be very turned off. They'd be like, man, this guy's a boring ass square. Like, I don't like this guy at all. And they just want to like you. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I 100% agree. No.
yeah, yeah. I I don't know. I love conversation. I could talk anything soup to satellites. It doesn't matter to me. I can converse. Um, but I always take it from the platform. Even though he's a greedy guy, but Gene Simmons always said, he's like, listen, if people are talking about you negatively, that just means you're doing that much more right. He said, if you're
Dude, I
being
literally
talked
said that.
about,
I literally said that on my channel for the people that make videos. Because, dude, you realize there's people that make videos about me talking shit about me, or or the comments. I'm like, dude, you don't talk a shit about nobodies. That means when I see that stuff, I was like, I just put the smile on my face. I was like, you're validating me. I was like,
sure,
I was like, because if I was doing nothing, if you want to have nobody say anything about you in this world, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing, and nobody will say anything about you.
that's just like Lemmy said from Motorhead. He's like, listen, all these people that say they don't want to, be heard. They just, they want to be their inverted snobbery. They're only like that 5 or 6 people allowed to like what they like and do what they do, and they can't change. And they got to be. He's like, stay in your living room. Nobody will hear you there.
Yeah.
It's just but it's true. I always found that whole the '90s thing right after I stopped agoraphobia. I said, man, I got to reset the button on priorities for myself because I see too many wrong people involved. Back then, I definitely saw, for my experience, I saw relapse completely take a 180 from what I really thought they should have been and where they were going. When Matt Jacobson was sitting in my bedroom back on Pratt Street in Philadelphia with his briefcase with me and Alex talking about stuff, he gave me the dismembered. It was a sample of the album Get Ready to Release. It was just a clear cassette with a red sticker on with dismember, like an ever flowing stream. That's the guy that I wanted to be on the record label with. That's the
Mhm.
guy. Him and Bill, when Bill was still involved. They were the guys I'm like, yeah, I get it with them. But they're a business and they're going to expand. They got to make money. Things happen. I don't know their whole financial demographic. But as an artist at that time period and that age and what I wanted, I could see there was a change going. I'm like, I'm not so sure now
What year are you
if I want
talking
to be
roughly?
stuck in these.
I'm curious because everyone watching this,
Yeah.
including myself, we all know relapse drastically changed But I think what you're talking like even earlier on. So what year are you thinking? Because in my mind, I was a big fan
92.
of I was a big fan of relapse shit, a lot of it up to the like very early 2000s. But I think you're talking about way before that. Correct me. What year?
92.
Okay, dude, they like just
92.
started. What year did
Yeah.
they start? It wasn't much before that.
I think it was about 91, I think, maybe.
So 1 year.
Somewhere
Well,
around.
they haven't got their feet wet yet, brah. What do you mean they changed?
That's true. You're right. You're right. I think it was because they were around us a little more and they weren't so big. And because Bill lived in Pennsylvania, he lived like what? Where was he at? He was in Lancaster, I think, Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Something like
which
that.
is
Or
like an hour.
maybe they moved there eventually, but they were in PA. Like when I would order from them,
Yes,
I'd call
they
them
were
up and
PA.
I'd place an order over the phone. They were
Yeah,
located in PA then, but
Millville, I think it was Millerville.
yeah, it sounds about right. But they all came from because dude, when I would place an order here I'm here in Ohio, like 45 minutes south of Cleveland. When I placed an
Yeah,
order from Relapse, what I liked about Relapse Records always back in the day is it was free shipping, and when you place an order, you got it like within 2 days. Because I mean,
yeah.
me, I did. I'm sure someone in California took a little longer, but I was the next state over.
I mean, they were good. I liked the team of Bill and Matt in the beginning. I do. And you have a point. They were young. They were young on their label. They were. I think for me it was a mixture of a couple of things. Um, when Alex decided to drop the ball and leave and go because he was mad, he didn't like the way things were going. When John and Kenny and Spencer decided with the hangnail manager that those guys decided to keep, and I was like, we don't really need that. You know, it's not. I didn't see underground extreme music. At least I'm like, I don't think we need a manager because we were obviously able to get shows done without somebody doing it for us because Alex and I used to do that. It's like we don't need somebody else involved that don't know how to write a song, just don't really know what's in our hearts and minds when it comes to writing. It's like having a fucking Yoko Ono sitting there, you know, on the amplifier. You don't need it. It's in the way. I saw it in that way. I'm like, I understand there's a business. I get that. I can respect that. But what the other guys wanted it to turn into, and how I saw him, how I started to see Matt slowly kind of getting into that more, bigger end and being more. Uh, I think he was branching out to people that I thought were going to be they were going to be in the way than more helpful, at least to us. So I didn't feel so comfortable with that. I mean, we were good with it. And I liked the beginning working with it, but it was the way that whole area started to turn into. There's one thing about being hungry and being successful and putting out, but there's another when the greed becomes spiteful and you're trying to wreck one or two people. Keep a few. It's like the 60-40. You want the 60 on your side, but fuck the 40 because you're going to get what you want. I saw spots of that coming up. I'm like, man, and Agoraphobia with the other guys at the time had their foot in that, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like it. And Matt was, I felt Matt was putting his foot into that field. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that, man. I
So
don't
for
want to do it.
lack of better words, just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, and maybe the audience, what I'm hearing you say in like just simplistic terms is, in your mind, whether it's true or not, it felt like Matt and Relapse, they were going in just more of a business sense as opposed to a passion project. Is
Yeah,
that what you're trying to
it
say?
was.
Am I hearing you right? Or are you saying something different?
No. You're right, Justin. It was. I'm going back in my head, and as I'm talking, I'm seeing the faces of the other people, the other characters, kind of involved. What was going on? I'm like, and I just, you know, seeing how some of the other death metal bands in the area, some of them were still finding their spot where you thought, yeah, these guys, I like playing with these guys. This is good. I like being around these guys. They get it. Just feels real communal. Something really to believe in and trust in and expand for the right reasons, I guess. What I felt were the right reasons that I thought would prolong things at the time would be more beneficial to what my heart and soul wanted out of music. I didn't want to be conditioned by being outnumbered to be in the game and then the hopes that I get back to what it is I wanted to do 2 or 3 years prior. And I said, you know what? I don't think it's ever, if you let it go, you're never probably going to get it back. And I was seeing that and I'm like, I don't think it's going to be, I didn't think in the long run it was going to be beneficial working with those guys in Agoraphobia and Relapse. Relapse wanted to work. I had Bill on the phone with me before he broke from Matt. And they offered us $13,000 to record our first album. We were going to do Conqueror of Thorns. We are going to go to Sunlight over in Sweden, the whole 9 yards. We had it all figured out. The other guys in the band took a giant shit on that deal and said, no, we want $15,000. Simply because the other 2 guys in the band at the time wanted an apartment that they can live in, and they wanted Relapse to foot the bill for their apartment. Instead of fucking working, put down the dope and the pills and the fucking cocaine and stop chopping in the merchandise money. Maybe get the place yourself and don't fuck up things for me. And what the standard from the music was supposed to be here, you want to commercialize it for the wrong reasons. We're going to give it up to these guys. It's not going to be the same. They're going to have it. You guys are going to be whatever, and I'm going to be the fucking odd man out. So I'm not going to accomplish what I need to accomplish here in the long run. So I was like, nope, I'm pulling the plug on this.
Well, not to mention, I got to stick it for Relapse a little bit there. Oh, that's a hell of a lot more of a generous offer than we would ever offer a brand new band, like a demo band. Because, like, especially back then, I mean, if they would have came back and said, I'm like, dude, like, I could honestly say, unless there's probably 1 or 2 exceptions, I don't think we ever offered any band any money whatsoever who's a demo band. Now, don't be wrong. If you're an established band, like, let's say it was Immolation or something. Oh, okay, that makes sense. They're on album 20. You have a generalized idea of what you can move by them. When it's a demo band doing their first album, it's all gambling. You have no idea.
Yeah. It wasn't Relapse's fault. It was the other guys.
Yeah.
Fuck. I was perfectly fine with it. I was like, 13,000. Shit, that's great. But the other guys got greedy because they wanted they figured, oh, well, they can afford it. They can afford it. They can afford it. They probably could, but they were so, being business with Relapse, pushing at them, pushing. They just started to like push back and start to withdraw more. And I'm like, here we go. These guys are going to fuck up something that had great potential.
Well, they're thinking of themselves. See, I never thought that's dude. I don't give a shit if they got $10 million in the bank and they could afford it. My mentality, if I was in those shoes, it's not if they can afford it. That's their money. They earned it. I'd be thinking, whoa. I'm a demo band. You're offering me 13 grand. I'd be thinking, here's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, are we worth 13 grand? Can they even make their money back? Because to me, you got balls thinking that they automatically can. Do you have that much of an ego that you think your shit's just going to sell with no evidence, no proof, by the way, because you're a new band?
Right. And that's one of the reasons. I started to see how the other guys were, you know what I mean? And the other people in their ear, and it was, and then the substance abuse. I'm like, and I was the guy, I'm like, no, that's way more. That's, like you said, it's a very generous thing. I was expecting to say something like maybe 5 or 6 to record the album. You know what I mean? Because that was what was in my head. But when they said that number, 13, I was like, oh, okay, great. Johnny, they got on the phone with them guys and they argued with them. Not without me. I didn't know about it until after the fact. So when I heard all that shit, I'm like, this is going down. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I don't want nothing to deal with it. I don't want to be fucking trapped with these guys, and I don't want Relapse to kind of, I do it, and then somewhere down the line they regret, and they kind of resent us afterwards. I don't want either side of that. And I'm like, best way is to fucking, you know what? It was a great run. Goodbye. I dropped it. I fucking walked. I'm like, anything you guys use of mine and Alex, just put our name on it. Make sure we get credit. Goodbye. I took a year off. I said, nope, I'm going to go into spiritual practices. I have a lot I want to do. I'm going to reset myself here, figure out really what my heart's content needs, the place that I'm at in my head, and where I really want to be in my life, in my personal life, in my professional. I don't want it ruined by one thing or another. So I walked away at least for a year, collect my thoughts, get involved in just occult practices, spend time with other people outside the scene. And that's what I came up with Bloodstorm. And
Yeah, that's a perfect segue because that was the main topic I
yeah,
was going to talk about in this
yeah,
video. Because for everybody that knows, it's funny is because this video should go up. I think the next in line is Monday, November 23rd, and the release date, the ship date on our website for Pestilence from the Dragonstar, the second Bloodstorm, which is on pre-order right now. Hell's Headbangers, links in the description box. God damn it! It says November 21st. Yeah, that album, first time on vinyl.
yes,
The pre-orders, it says November 21st, assuming they're goddamn on time. Like our Desecration, Gore, and Perversions, those just came in yesterday, and the date
yeah,
was October 31st. Sometimes shit's a little early, sometimes shit's late, especially if it gets tied up in customs, because it's all pressed overseas. So all that shit. But
yeah.
nonetheless,
I understand.
if this goes up the 23rd when you guys are watching this, which I'm pretty sure that's the date it's going up, theoretically, it should be out and ready to ship, Bloodstorms. If not, it's coming in any day you watch this, literally any day. And we've been taking pre-orders for the past month or so. And so that is the second album by Bloodstorm. It's the band that Chris started after Agoraphobia. It's his black metal band. That's why I started the band. A shout out to Dwayne Morris, Dwayniac from the Depths, Nunslaughter. He was in Incantation a little bit, Dead of Night, tons of bands, right? Cleveland Metal, Decrepit. He's the one that told me about Bloodstorm back when I was like 15 or so. He's like, because I knew because I got the Agoraphobia demo from him, and he knew I loved it.
Right.
He's like, I was like, what are these guys up to now or whatever? Like they never done an album or whatever. He's like, oh well, Chris. He's like, I know he does a black metal band now called Bloodstorm. I was like, oh shit, no kidding. And I went out and the first, I think it might have been the only one I just found or whatever was the second album, Pestilence from the Dragonstar. Granted, that was probably the year 2000, so the year it came out. So naturally, it's going
Yeah,
to be the
99.
underground distro bins. Yeah, 99 it came out.
Late 99, like late winter in early 2000. Yeah, because that was Tom Wilkinson from Immolation's label that originally came out on Soul Sold.
See, now what I didn't realize for a while, being a fan of the band,
Mm-hmm.
um, you were kind of like in the beginning of the band, even kind of you got other guys, but the very beginning, you were like the Joel Grind, the Toxic Holocaust, the black metal. Like you did everything. I thought all the time it was a full band. Like, how was that? Like, I didn't realize you knew how to play all the instruments and
Yeah,
shit. And like, how
except
was that coming
drums.
up? And was the reason just you were sick of working with people? Like, what was the whole reason behind when you started Bloodstorm of doing everything yourself?
Okay. Besides the parts I just mentioned from transition,
Yeah.
that whole business from Agoraphobia into there. Uh, in the area in Philly where I was at, there was almost nobody into anything that was venomous, battery possessed sort of thing. It was a lot of the people, the death metal guys that were in G Willikers and cell blocks were they were Death and Morbid Angel and Deicide and Cannibal Corpse, you predominantly based kind of people, which was fine because that was in their age bracket of finding things, I think, so those bands, Obituary, all that stuff. And, so I'm like, well, I'm I'm kind of past that. And I'm like, I missed I missed more of the Saxon, Motorhead, Crocus sort of heavy metals a bit. And being a fan of Motorhead and Venom more so than anything, I'm like, wow, you know, the black metal edge anymore is the edge that holds the punk Motorhead Venom's attitude and style more so at that time period than it does anywhere else because America was so much more very death metal. I would say probably what 85% death metal this country, 90, 92,
Yeah,
93.
to be honest, that's kind of like part of the reason why did it even
Yeah,
cross your mind? Like you're starting now a black metal band, and don't get me wrong,
it was on purpose.
black metal was popular in the early 90s and coming up, but it was always known for, Norway and Scandinavia and that area. Like
Oh,
there
I got a
wasn't
lot of
too
shit.
much US black metal, like, and even the US black metal that was there, the Sathanists, the fucking Profanaticas, the Summons, that shit
Yeah.
was nowhere near as popular and overlooked. It was always, it had to be somewhere over in Europe or Scandinavia. Like that didn't even cross your mind like this. Nobody's gonna even care. Or did you just not care? You're like, fuck it, it's what I want to do. So I don't give a fuck
I
if they care or not.
I did not care because after I was done with Gorephobia and dealing with all the people in here, I was like, I'd rather be doing something that's removed from all these people.
Mhm.
And I just wasn't. I'm like, I missed my, my Razor and my Whiplash, and I missed those bands. And I'm like, I don't hear nobody really doing that no more. I miss Exploited. I miss Crumbsuckers. I miss Motorhead a lot.
Well, it's
Even
funny
though,
you're saying all these bands you're saying. It's funny you're saying these bands all out. When I
yeah,
listen to Bloodstorm, I don't hear any of that in there though. Like I can hear it's a little bit of Venom and Bathory and like an old school like
yeah,
mix. It to me it sounds like traditional 90s black metal, but you could tell there's a little bit more of an 80s influence. But it's funny you're saying you missed those bands, and like obviously that was your influence, and maybe that's what you're trying to incorporate. But like me as a band, like none of those bands crossed my mind other than like the Venom, a little bit of Frost. I mean, in later albums, you could definitely
yeah,
hear some Frost where it's like very
right,
obvious. But
right, right.
but not on the Pestilence. I mean, a part here and there, but not
No,
for
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut in you. So when I started out after Gorephobia, I wasn't a guitar player. I had to learn. I self-taught. So I played what I liked, and I love Exploited so much, and Discharge and all those type of things. As much as I love my Motorhead and Venom, the raw, just the high energy and the raw power of them. Like Bruce Lee always said it best, and I love quoting him because he's great. Simplicity is brilliance. The
Mhm.
more simple and direct the thing is, the more it's going to stand the test of time. Because if you have a good catch in a song, intricacy wasn't an important factor at the moment. I'm like, I just want powerful, moving music that I like. My hands love playing this. So I just did those two demos the way I did. I got the more Celtic Frost influence more by the time it was when we did Death by the Storm was a demo in '96. Me and my brother got more like that because my brother was so much more of a hardcore guy than I was. I was more of a heavy metal guy growing up. My brother was more of a punk and hardcore guy. So my brother practiced most of his time he practiced to more a hardcore drumming. Cro-Mags, he would sit there and play the whole Cro-Mags Age of Quarrel album. He would play the Crumbsuckers album. He would play, Broken Bones Excel. He would do that. The RI album. He would play all that. So he had, instead of the down, up, down, up, down, he would do the up, down, up, down, up, down. So it was kind of reverse. And I never thought of it other because it's my brother. I grew up with him. So I'm used to hearing him. So to me, it wasn't anything different. The first time I noticed anything different about my brother's playing is when I had Russ, Proscriptor Russ. When he stood, he did a show with us because we needed a drummer at the time, and we did Destroy. He's like, you know what? And I thought Russ, I'm like, this guy he could do anything. He said he's like Destroy. He's like, dude, it's weird. He's like, your brother's playing this instead of up down, it's down up down. He's like, it's weird. It's weird timing for me. And I was like, I never thought of it. And for him to say that, I was like, I'm not a drummer, so I don't get it. But
Mhm.
it's my brother, so I never thought of it being anything because I love the drums, but I'm not a drummer. So when I was doing those first two demos, I did both guitars and bass and vocals. I did all that. I wasn't at a lead playing stage yet because I did not feel confident whatsoever, even trying to attempt a lead, because I was like, I just wanted to be just so raw and direct, just raw and direct. This because I had John Kenny and Spence in my ear so much during the end of the Gorephobia years and all the other people, oh, this guy's this and he's that. And I'm just like, I don't fucking care about none of that. I want to hear bam, 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 go, go, go. I want that energy and excitement. Now, for me, the only way to do that is to just go head on with it. Just drive it head on and just go until you say, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this into another step because I fulfilled my initial potential motive of going in that simplicity and the raw power and high energy aggression and going for it. So now I'm like, you get more confident, doing a bit more here, a bit more there. But by the time I was doing Pestilence, the album that you're putting a second, I was heavily listening to so much Necrovore, so much Pentagram from Chile, Mike Browning's Incubus, Mike Browning, the early stages of Nocturnus, Sam Hain from Denmark. Those 5 demos over and over. I was so absorbed with it so much, especially Necrovore. And early on when I did meet Morbid Angel early on, I don't know them great, but when I met them early on during Altars of Madness, talking to them, I thought Dave Vincent was a complete tool. And I'm
I've
like,
heard
oh
that.
God, I'm like, boy, I can't take this guy. I'm like, nah, forget it. I was like, I couldn't take. He was like the winger of the death metal scene. That's how I looked at him.
I gotta
I
be
mean, that's
honest.
the
I
way
mean,
I looked at him.
I mean, I'm not gonna say every interaction I've heard about him. Most people don't have anything good to say about him.
He just didn't seem. It wasn't a guy that I would say, "Ooh, let me talk to you because I like the way your head's at with music." I didn't get that from him at all. I just got. It's like, dude, it's like you're not going to be as cool as Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, and you definitely aren't as fucking cool as Necrovore. Not even by a fucking pinky nail. It was just he seemed so rehearsed, so studied. You know what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say? He's like it's like he studied to be like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Like, oh,
thought
yeah, yeah. Of
the coolest guy I thought was Richard. I liked Richard. Richard
course,
Brunel's the guy I
they
really
always
liked.
say the fucking yeah, assholes live forever. Naturally, he's gone,
Always
right?
liked Richard. I always thought he was cool. Mike Browning always thought Richard was the coolest guy. Um, I got a relationship with Mike early on in the late '80s, just writing to him, just by writing to him. I didn't know the backstory of their big falling out. Not until later. And being a friend with him, I had private discussions, and it just when you're friends with somebody for a while, it starts to solidify why you see what they did and why they do it. Like anybody else, be it music or anything, that's what friends do. We converse, and you start to know your buddies. So I wasn't a virtuoso type of guy, but by the time I got to that Pestilence album, it was those demos and those sounds. I'm like, boy, the potential that I heard in that Necrovore demo, I thought was just such a lost, uncharted territory with not a lot, with most bands at that time period. I wasn't hearing that musical perspective.
Mhm.
If I could, if that makes sense. And I didn't see myself as a black metal band. I thought black death thrash is really kind of how I thought
Yeah.
Bloodstorm was, like a
Well,
black death thrash.
realistically, when you do the math, especially the stuff you're influenced by from the '80s and stuff, like
Yeah,
early Sodom, it's kind of black and thrash. You know what I mean? Like
and punkish too.
Necrovore, some people call them a death metal band, some people call them a black metal band. Sarcophago,
Right.
Iron or Eye, some people call it a death metal album, some people call it a black metal album. So it is. I know exactly what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's our age groups too, because that's the way magazines wrote things in a certain way. That's the information we had. So we
Hmm.
relied on Metal Maniacs and Kerrang and Metal Forces and Metal Hammer. We relied on that stuff. So they were the guys writing the articles. They were the guys listening to the albums, reviewing it. Unless you got it yourself, you kind of only had what you read as your standard till you found it finally. And people just, I try to tell people all the time, like most of those records, man, you could not find a lot of that stuff. It really took an adventure and the
Hmm.
finding a lot of those records because they just really weren't shipped around in that time period. I
Sure.
was lucky because, and I'm sure we always in Ohio, Justin, we were always
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you probably had wall to wall sound and video in the '80s, right?
You gotta remember, I was born in the '80s. I am younger than you. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
like young of these
sorry.
kids. I'll be 41 in January, so you got some years on me.
I don't mean that as a slack, buddy. It's just you
No,
have the
I
same
get it.
kind of mindset.
No, I get it, dude. Like I tell everybody on the channel, like I was like, dude, I'm a newbie because it's funny. Like I just said this in my Exploding Zombies interview that will go up in it's the one I just finished, so it'll go up on Friday or something like that. And I'm dead serious when I say this. Like there's a lot of my followers and shit like that. They're very young, right? Like very young,
Yeah,
15. And I know because I've met a lot of them, 15, 16, etc. And to me, if you're under the age of 25, you're a fucking kid in my goddamn book. But nonetheless, they're very young, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them.
sure.
And so when I say my first show, 'cause my very first metal show was in 1998, and that was Death, they're like,
Mm.
"Whoa, you seen Death?" I was like, "Yeah, on the shittiest fucking album that exists in 1998." I was like, I was almost embarrassed to say that on camera, like, and they were like blown away, thinking it's cool. I'm like, dude, that's newbie shit. I was like, my friends and shit like Dawn of the Dead and Athner for Midnight, I was like, they saw Death in '88. Like Don was writing Death on the demos when they were Mantis. It was like,
Right.
I was like, 98. I was like, that's a newbie. I was like, I never even seen Cannibal Corpse with Chris Barnes singing. I was like, I'm new, I'm young, I'm a newbie. What are you talking about? But you got
Wow.
to remember the other generation, Chris, to why they look at me like I'm an old guy. This is normal, dude. Check this out, Chris. This is a normal metal fan that listens to, Bloodstorm and bands of the
Yeah.
past. Bro, I was born in 2002. 2002. What the fuck? I was already going to shows for half a decade. Like
Uh,
that's when they were born.
God, I
So,
was 31.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's I'm getting their perspective. So, it's funny because I'm closer to your age than a lot of
Yeah.
my followers are to my age.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I always saw myself as the new guy because everybody I hung out with and shit, like I brought up Dwayniak before, Jim Sadis, rest in peace, Dawn of the
Yeah.
Dead. They're all your age. So that was the
Yeah.
perspective I always got. And maybe that's why I have an older personality and older mindset because I never hung around anyone my age ever. Dude, I did not have one friend in high school, not one. All my friends were from going to shows, and they were all at least 10 years older than me, at least.
Wow. I was the guy in school that I was one of. That was the guy that, oh, Chris, oh, he's into music. Oh, he likes a lot of stuff that, you know, he likes a lot of these demo bands, like the bands that aren't even local. Because
Yeah.
I would have fanzines and stuff. I used to carry Death Thrash Mayhem around from Japan. I used to carry that fanzine. Total Thrash was Scott Healy from Philadelphia. He was, he had a respectable magazine, and that's where I got a lot of my demos from him. And then, you know, like anybody else in that time period, you're taping tapes for your friends. You're bringing them into school in your school bag. Hey man, check it out. Boom, you're at lunch table, and you're swapping stuff. That's the world I grew up in, and I was one of those guys that was the pass along tape guy. I was one of them.
Mhm.
Uh, I wasn't the guy, but I was one of them that would introduce, other
Yeah.
people to stuff. And I never looked at it anything other than just it was so exciting and fun to do. I couldn't wait to let people hear Fatal. I couldn't wait to let people hear Nuclear Death. I couldn't
Mhm.
wait to let people, hear the Necrophagia Death is Fun demo and things like that. It was exciting. It really was exciting. You just didn't have the quick, easy access like we do today to people to sit there and just, I guess, pick people apart on, no, they're wrong, face to face interaction. You got the real, you got the real, you got the real attitude. You got the real personality in front of your face. There's something to be said about making those journeys with people. When you share and passing records around first times, even like comic books, like a big comic book collector I was, there was
Mhm.
something really special about passing, an issue of Ghost Rider to your friend that didn't have it yet, or he
Yeah.
passed me the issue of King Conan, and you're listening to Voivod and Nasty Savage, and you're reading the comics, and yeah, it's your fucking day, man. It's your world, and and
Mhm.
and um, I refuse to let that be torn from my heart and soul. And I naturally gravitated to being a bus driver because it's the idea of being around kids that they're less likely to be corrupted
Mhm.
by a lot of things that would get in the way of your normal day thinking. Where there's more of an innocence of question with them, and there's a more positive result to give them an answer that they could take that answer and they could figure it out for themselves and grasp how they think and feel, and they get that journey. And that's what I see. I see them get the journey that I got. Okay, maybe not in comic books and tape trading like I do, but I do see that with these kids, there is a journey in their heart that they want.
How old are kids are you talking? Like that you could.
Kindergarten to high school that I
Oh,
drive
so
for
the
now.
oh the whole oh, so the whole demographic. Okay.
Yeah, 6 years old all the way up to 17.
Do you see that's actually especially because again you're the decade generation before me. The mentality of 16, let's say age 15 to 18, the high schooler, right?
Yeah.
Of your day in the 80s growing up, to you seeing the 15 to 18-year-olds today, do you see a drastic difference?
Um, yeah, there's one noticeable difference, I would say,
Which is
and
what?
that's the idea that they don't have the physical journey of figuring things out with their friends without being having somebody on camera all 24/7 or somebody in their fucking ear or being medicated because they're thinking differently than everybody else.
Well, what do you think about
They,
the thing? Because what the main difference I can think of, and hell, again, I'm a decade after you. Um, Nothing they do is real. And what I mean by that, they're out there. It's either in a video game, it's in a phone. Like, dude, nobody even rides a bike anymore. Nobody goes to water parks. Nobody skateboards. I mean, when I say nobody, I'm just talking the vast majority. Obviously, some do, but it's very
yeah,
low.
they have
Going
less patience.
outside, like outside activities, like hell, even like
Yeah.
I was never the party guy, but you probably were getting like, let's say teenagers going out with your buds and listening to demos, smoking weed, drinking beer, like granted, that wasn't my scene either. I was in the list of the music, but without the beer and smoking weed. But very common in the 80s. Not even in the metal scene. I'm talking about even pop music and shit like that. Like go over to your friend's house, listen to records and drink beers and like when you're 16. I don't even think kids of today, again, I'm not saying none, but I'm talking 85% of them. I don't even think they do that shit anymore. I
And
could
they
be
have
wrong.
no, no, it's no, it's a good, no, it's still, it's still what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm just wording it different. Maybe. I guess what I'm saying is I don't see the same kind of patience to take that journey or the interest to take that journey because it's so convenient to just touch the screen and get everything you want in one shot. There's no time to let your mind go in that journey and think about the journey as you're doing it. Like absorb the experience as you're doing it and see how you're thinking and feeling as you're doing it. Showing you maybe what you are made of and what you're not made of. Um, Clicking a button, you read it, maybe
Well,
with
not
your
only
friends
that, dude,
talking
just
about,
their
maybe not.
social interaction. Again, like I feel bad for the youth of today because their life,
They're very
to me, that
awkward trying to date. I'll
well,
say
yeah,
that
no,
they're
yeah,
very
exactly.
awkward,
That's what makes sense, dude. That their
very
lives,
awkward.
to me, I don't think that they live real lives. They're in computers. Like, for example, like
They're afraid a lot.
no, but dude, like the average if you want to call it a problem, I don't call it a problem. It's like
Yeah,
that's kiddie shit. They're worried about what somebody said on Instagram. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I was like, that's why, like in my comments, people talking shit or people making videos about me, it doesn't even phase me. Like I actually laugh because I was like, it's not real to me. It's all fake. And like none of these
yeah,
people will say any dude, with all the haters I have, do you know how many people have come up to me in person? Keep in mind, it's out there when I'm at shit. I'm at all kinds of fests that I've been at. I
yeah,
say when I'm going to shows, interviews, like it's public knowledge when I'm going to shit all the time. Like, and I'm at all the local shows, metal shows, and shit like that. How many times
yeah.
do you think any one of my haters have come up to me in person? How many times do you think?
Come up to you in person, haters,
Yeah,
maybe 1%.
zero, not once, none.
I was trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. There you go.
Yeah, and that's just weird to me. I was like, because everything you're doing, this whole online shit, it's fake. That's why I just have fun with it. I just think it's funny,
It
and I
is.
maybe that's why I'm a little bit loose on what I say, and I don't care if I say something on video and I post it because
Yeah,
this whole little internet world is fake. It's not real life to me.
it's really not. It's great for information.
Hmm.
It's great to contact people. It's great to try to maybe talk to some. I love it because I miss my old school friends
Hmm.
from Philadelphia, and especially now that I'm down here, I miss everybody real bad.
Yeah.
It's strange to me. It's strange being where I'm at.
Where out of Florida you at now?
I'm north of Pensacola in a little city, a little town called Milton.
How far is
It's out.
that? The only place I'm familiar with because I've been there a few times is Orlando. How far are you from Orlando?
Oh, that's south. That's east and south. That's like I don't know I think Tampa is about 8 hour drive from where I'm
Okay.
at.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
you're far.
that's like 12,
Oh shit.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Something
So you're
like
at the
that.
you're at the you're at the you're at the very north.
The Panhandle.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm real close. I think I'm where we're at. What an hour and a half away from Mobile, Alabama,
Okay. Okay.
and I'm here because like I said, half my family's here.
Okay.
Now I always figured if something happens to me, I wanted my daughters to be around my family if something does ever happen to me.
Well, your daughter's got to be full blown teenagers by now, right?
No, Eva is 11 and Cassandra is 9.
Oh, that. Oh shit. Okay. Shit. You
Yeah,
had them late.
yeah, I did. Yes,
So
I
you're
did.
like what? What are you 55?
54,
Okay. Yeah. You definitely waited.
71.
Yeah. You waited for sure.
I know. And the biggest reason was because when I was younger, I wanted my music career first. I didn't want
No, you did smart, dude.
family to get
My
me.
rule is, dude. Again, I don't like to dig deep into it because I think people get offended like a motherfucker. One of my rules is, dude. You need to have a license to have kids, and one of those requirements for that license, you got to be 30 minimum. And the reason being is, well, I'll tell you why, dude. Think about it. Like maybe you can. I can say this for myself and shit. Before 30, you're probably not financially stable. So what the fuck are you adding another
No,
mouth to feed for? And before
true.
30, most people, granted, before 30, I was a mature adult. Again, probably because I hung around with people much older than me. I've had a
Yeah,
job since I was 13, but let's call it like it is. Most people
yeah.
are not 30. Hell, I got to go as far as saying this, dude. If you still like going to the bar and playing leap ass and fucking leapfrog and grab ass with your boys, bar hopping, buying shots, you got no business having kids. That's still kiddo shit. Once you have a
Yeah.
kid, that's a bad influence on the kid, in my opinion. You got no business having
Yeah.
kids. So 30 is the number because chances are you're still fucking going to the bar with your boyfriends and you don't have a solid job, don't have a stable income. So I think you did it right. I said that to my first
Thanks.
wife, which I'm glad to have kids with her. My first wife.
Me too.
She wanted to
Me
have
too.
kids. I was like, if we do, which is a big fucking if I was like, I am not having it one day before I turn 30. Not one. I said this when I was in my early 20s. I knew this. I
See,
was
I
like,
felt that way too, though, Justin. When I was in my 20s, I was like, not yet. I want to be
dude, I
after. I
think
want to be.
anybody, honestly, Chris, I think anybody who's a fucking grown man and has any common fucking sense would think that. I mean, think about it, dude. Why the fuck would you have a kid at 21? That is beyond. You're literally like, dude, just pull out a shotgun and shoot yourself in the foot. You are handicapping your life and you are handicapping that child's life. Not
I'll
because you're a
still figure
bad
things
person.
out.
You just got out of fucking high school. Like, what?
Yeah,
You can't
I'm still trying to
possibly be
figure some
ready.
things out.
Yeah.
Basically, and 21, I was going around the country with Gorephobia. We were opening for Immolation on that tour. It wouldn't have worked. I had a girlfriend at that time, and I loved her. She was excellent, brilliant mind. Had all the credentials, had all the potential to be a wife. But she gave me an ultimatum. She's like, it's either that I got to sit here while you go away. That's not fair. I'm like, I'm going to be back in a month, and
You
I'm like this with you.
you
So
chose right,
what are you worried
Christopher.
about?
You chose
Huh?
right. I said you chose right.
Well, she gave me an ultimatum. She said, it's either that or me. I said, I love you, Karen. Goodbye.
You want to know why you chose right?
Because I knew I would resent it later.
Well, no, it's not why. You know why I think you chose right?
What's that?
Because my definition of success is leaving behind a legacy that people that you will never know their name, but they
Yeah.
know who you are based on stuff that you've done. And just with Gorephobia and Bloodstorm, granted, it's not Cannibal Corpse size. That's not the fucking
No.
point. There's still fans of it that never
Yeah.
met you. You've never
Yeah.
met. They know who you are because of it. If you would have had
Yeah.
kids and had the white picket fence and never did that shit, we wouldn't be talking right now. I would never know who
No.
you are. So you left, if you're to die tomorrow, dude, you left the stamp on this world that the average person, let's say the average person lives to be 90 or like they don't, but let's just say the average person lifestyle, let's say they live to be 90 and you
Yeah.
die at 54, you did more in life than they did because they leave no
Yeah.
legacy. The only people that know and remember them is their family and loved ones.
And then it starts to disappear.
And then when they die, you're completely forgotten. You put something in, and not just you. I'm saying this for people that do bands and movies or anything, whether you're a professional sports player, you left your thumbprint on this world. And to me, that defines success. You left your thumbprint. Most people don't leave a thumbprint.
Yeah, and that's it's. I definitely 100% agree with what you're saying because I didn't. All I knew was I got to do what I always wanted to do when I was young, and when I used to listen to those Kiss records and Who and AC/DC, I was like, I want to make a record like that that's just has all this energy and makes me move around this room and celebrate my life and forget about all the horrible shit that went in my day because this makes me feel great and it makes me feel like I have a real friend and my soul soars. I'm like, that's the thing that I was like, if I could give that to just a handful of people in my life, all this inside of me will feel fulfilled. And that was always important to me. So if I could do it year after year, it's a gift from the universe. I'm a very karmatic guy because of the things that I practice, and I always believe what you put in is what you get out. What you get out, you have to be able to read it when it comes back to you with the energy you put out. I'm that kind of way. I made a lot of boatload of mistakes, but gotta learn from it. I got to get up and wipe the dog shit off my fucking face and just keep going because, like I said, I believe that I was disliked more than liked. Still to this day, I think most people tolerate me to a degree, and I mean, people were nice. I'm not trying to say people are nice, but the years being around and going out, I put faith in people that I was like, well, you know what? I know I can be trusted. And I'm that guy that, oh, I know I can be trusted. I'm going to trust you. And if like just say this, hey man, I trust you. Come on, man. Let's be this. And the whole time they got a dagger waiting to come when I ain't looking and go, bah, I fucked him up good.
You see, I'm 50-50 with you on that. Like I think the exact same way. Like I know I can be trusted and I'm reliable, but I
yeah,
found out other people can't be. So I was like, that's
yeah,
why if we're doing something, you're following me. I'm not following you. And
yeah,
why?
right.
Why? Because you suck. Well, what do you mean I suck? How do I know you suck? Because 90% of this people in this world fucking suck. And they let you down. They're unreliable. They stab you in the back. They forget. Dude, they're fucking useless. So
That's why
I
I
was
did
like,
Bloodstorm.
what's that?
That's why I did Bloodstorm. I got away from that. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
rely on
everybody
myself
sucks,
and I'm going
dude.
to do it this
Everybody
way.
fucking sucks. Yeah, like I said, dude, setting up releases like how we set up Bloodstorm, dude.
Yeah,
There's so many stuff like, basically a first time on vinyl or a repress. You contact the band from the past. Dude,
sure.
you know what the common response is for us to put something out?
What's that?
No response, no reply. That's the
What do you
dude,
mean?
that's the fucking norm.
No.
The norm. It's
I'm honored.
unusual that you even get a reply.
I'm honored that you chose.
That's what the guys that do pull through. That's usually what they say. I'm like, I figure that's common sense. Why would you want your shit out?
I'm honored a person like you put this on a record. I always wanted to see that way back when I did it.
Yeah,
I'm honored. I can't thank you enough that there are guys like you that will do that. And I say that I sometimes I wonder I seem I guess maybe odd, and I probably think it. Maybe I think that way because I'm a deep thinker. Sometimes I will outthink myself for my own good. And I have to go, wait a minute, pull back a minute here, Chris. None of this happened yet. Put your cards back on the table. What is it that you got? Okay, let's do this first, man. Just relax, guy. You'll be okay. You went through this before. But I have to do that to myself. I have to do it to myself to make sure I'm properly learning myself correctly without the corruption and the deceitful backstabbing or just that the dishonest people because like I said I'm willing to go, hey man, let's work, this is great, I love it because I love the music and the art so much. I feel it's so important for a person's soul to have it in their heart and head. It creates such a wonderful character for a person, and when you can share with people that okay, they're not exactly running on your same line, but they're in that field with you. I think, man, you bring it all in together, and there's so much you can learn from all that. All the things that all the contrasts are a brilliant tool to learn, and I love that. And that's one of the things I always loved about the occult and putting it into music because there's so many contrasts and undiscovered things you can unlock and rebuild over and over. Take it apart and rebuild it from scratch. Take it apart, rebuild it from scratch. But every time I do a Bloodstorm album, I'm taking everything apart that I liked, keep the core of what I am, and go, okay, well, how am I thinking? How is the Chris today compared to the Chris of 35 years ago? And I sit and I'm like, well, I always like this, but I do this and this, and I like this now, and this always, yeah, I'm still that same guy, but now because I'm that same guy, I just learned to do all this by here. Yeah, okay, I'm okay, and I just run with it that way. And
well,
if I
that's a
worry,
great segue to a question I really wanted
okay,
to ask about
okay,
Bloodstorm in general because it was just something I always wondered about the band. Since you kind of went into it a little bit, is
okay,
you're obviously a man of thought and think things out and belief, and
yeah,
you brought the occult.
yeah.
What is How serious were your lyrics to you, and exactly what were they like? All in one, because for example, you sing a lot about there's a lot of dragons and shit like that. Like, were you just kind of pulling like comic booky, goofy stuff out of your ass, or is there a spiritual belief of yours that involves any of this stuff? Since again, you are a man of thought, how much of that your personal beliefs and thought went into your lyrics, and then kind of like what if there wasn't a lot of personal belief, but it was just for entertainment, imagination, what was kind of the message in the lyrics, like what they're about, the stories, etc.
Every album is 100% occult orientated for what I was doing in my time in my life right at that moment. And I turned a lot of that energy that I felt back after I was done certain things. I would jot them down because that's what you do. I mean, a lot of occultists that I've
Well, first off,
I have,
let me cut you off real quick. Like, so, just so we're all on the same page, do you partake in the actual cults heavily yourself? Then,
yes.
okay. See, I didn't even know that. So, okay, so continue.
Okay, so every time I do something I consider an operation under a certain amount of months, a certain time period, I'll do things for myself. A lot of it is mantra. It used to be just sigil work completely, but then I learned, doing they call numbers of intelligence. There's like you do like a magic square and a big book that explains it. I would say that one of the biggest books that influenced me to say that's an interesting aspect. I want to try doing that. That's really good. Was Abramelin the Mage's book. Because he does a lot about magic squares. And I love the idea that there is your spiritual name, which is a number, your birth date, et cetera, your signs, your elements. There's numbers in that. So you put all these numbers in these boxes and you calculate them out according to what influence you're trying to do. I use a lot of planetary influences early on. So I use planetary influences aligned with my sun and moon rising in those to see what alphabet would show up and what numbers would show up. And I put them in a square and I'm like, oh, okay. And it's kind of like a crossword puzzle in a sense. It's like an occult crossword puzzle. It's the best way I could describe it. And I look at it. I look at it a while. I'm like, okay, this is what I came up with. What name am I seeing? What numbers am I thinking? And why am I thinking of these numbers? And where do they lie in the realm of this of my sigil magic work here? What is the? And I sit with these books and papers, and I jot them down. I figure it out. I meditate. I'm like, okay, this is what I come up with when I think of it. I figure it out. I'm like, now what's my heart and soul telling me about this? And I'll sit. I'll do a tarot. I'll get a tarot. My friend Heather was a tarot carver. She used to read the tarots for me, and whatever she would do, she wouldn't see what I had. I would try to synchronize. What is it that you may think? If you're feeling something on my mind, what do you think you read in me? And then she put it out, and I would interpret what she's got compared to what I got. It's a really interesting way for me to work in that field because it broadens so much perspective. It goes out wide. It's like putting your finger in water, watching the ripples go out. It hits whatever surface, and it comes back to your finger. And the idea is your soul is put into this, and boom, you make your soul kind of burst like a sun, and it blows out your energy. It vessels out. It hits whatever designation it is going to. Whatever it hits, that energy is supposedly, in theory, has an energy reaction absorbed, and that gets sent back to you. Never comes back in this. You get a lot of these guys, they shoot fireballs out your ass, lightning out of your eyes, are going to fuck 1,000 women. I never, ever looked at the occult that way. That's the comic book side, which is wonderful for stories and movies. I will not take that away. It is wonderful. I love fantasy work. I love it. It's great. It's a great expression, just like music. But instead of making art and writing it, I make it in music. So when that comes back to me in a sense, I'll meditate again. And I'm thinking, is anything reaching me? Am I thinking of anything? If something happens to hit me at a time period when I'm using magical operation, I'll write it down and I'll go back to what I did at this certain period. If it was a couple months ago, whatever it was, and say, what's the synchronization here that matches? And I put it together. I start formulating names. I'm like, the name's this. That's it mean. Oh, that's great. Geez, how does that make me feel? And I pick up the guitar, start just playing. How do I feel? And I'm playing, writing lyrics, play, whatever. Most of the time I would write lyrics before I would play the music.
Okay.
It's not until more recently that I started doing music and lyrics at the same time. I think that just came through the years of doing it on my own so much that but in the beginning wasn't that way. So I learned to do both and take the one, put it down, and then do the other. And whatever one's synchronized, I put them together. Whatever it was, I'm like, that is what my heart is telling me. That feels good to do it. Just do it. And I always believe you got to make what your heart and your soul is telling you. It is the only way you're going to really be happy when you put this kind of work out. When a musician puts his work out, he's got to be happy first. If he is not happy with those songs, he should not put it out to the public's ear, because if he is not confident in his work, the public isn't going to be confident, because I think the soul resonates what you do. Whether you write music or a song, it resonates. Your words have power. Just think of Orson Welles, 1984. If you control language, you control society. So you have the ability to control your lyrical content to match your music with the pure, unadulterated corruption of the human bazaar out there, of the spirits around you. You pull it in, just you and the chaotic energy coming in together, and boom, there's your song. And I looked at things, creating it in that way. So every song, every album is definitely 100% a magical belief in operation that I think and feel all the time. Now, the only time I did an album where I figured it more fantasy was the last album, Cursedness of the Cinder Witch, because that was based on the Penanggalan, which is the Polynesian vampire, the female vampire. That was a sign, like, I want to do something that was storytelling, not necessarily, but storytelling. Like, what is a story that I always thought was great that you just never see in a movie, or maybe even only Dungeons and Dragons that ever see the Penanggalan ever portrayed was in the Fiend Folio for Dungeons and Dragons. And when I first saw the drawing of that creature, I was like, now that is a fucking nasty, vile, distorted and very disturbing vampire concept. Because the head detaches from the woman's body with all the organs, and the organs are poisoned. They lacerate women. It eats the children. It eats their period blood. It absorbs women when their menstrual cycle. Afterbirth, everything. It's such a sad and very loathsome curse for a woman to have in that lore. And I'm like, wow, that's a very there's nothing happy. I didn't like glamour. I don't like glamorous vampires. I always thought that was a bastardization of a vampire. So I'm like, the only other male vampire I thought was fucking awesome was Mr. Barlow in Salem's Lot. That's the only vampire that ever fucking scared me when I was a kid, was Mr. Barlow, with the glowing eyes and all. He fucking looked nasty. You didn't want that guy coming to bite you in the neck. You ran from that fucker. You want to, hi, baby, I just love you. It's that, I'm like, that real, that frilly, ruffled, limp-wristed vampire.
Most of us like love stories.
I can't take. I'm like, if I want horror, I want fucking horror. Okay, if I want a Friday the 13th, I'm going to watch a Friday, and you get the stupid cheap sex shit. But when it comes to the mythical creatures, I don't find them attractive in my heart and soul. Interested if they're lovey-dovey. They're supposed to be completely anti-human and devoid of any human emotional content. They are brutal, bloodthirsty, chaotic absorbers of life. These are menacing maelstrom killers. Don't glorify them. So I've always been fascinated by that chaotic lore. So I loved that about the Penanggalan. So I wrote that album about a story, like a woman falling to that curse, turning into one, and maybe what it might have felt like, and maybe how she experienced being an outcast, shunned, condemned for being who she was, and searching for acceptance in a world of complete emptiness and hopelessness. She turned to the most vile thing to find comfort. And what did it do? It was more cruel than she could ever have imagined. And I thought that is a brutal horror story if I ever heard one. So I loved it, and I did that album based out. That's the only storytelling sort of album I wanted to do. I always wanted to do one like that. So I chose that folklore. So that's the one I did.
Part of that, it seems like you're using dragons quite a bit. Why dragons?
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. That comes a lot with the silver magic, which comes a lot with the work Loa. It comes a lot with the Mysteries of the Lycanthrope. Michael Matero's book, the Gnostics Workshop book, the Valdu Gnostics. A lot of it is Haitian voodoo. And a lot of it is also the works of which is this book here, The Night Side Eden by Kenneth Grant. I based basically Pestilence from the Dragonstar is based a lot on me working in the operations of this book right here.
Mm.
Okay, because this book taught me a lot more climbing the Typhonian trilogy echelon, mixed with a lot of the Sumerian lore and all the things that a lot of other people like Absu, for instance, touch into, and all the teachings of pre-biblical times and stuff, mixed with a lot of occult philosophies here. I found that world fascinating even more, and I learned to do a lot more with the operations that are taught by Kenneth Grant, Austin Osman Spar, Madame Blavatsky, Alice A. Bailey, who does the Cosmic Treaties of Fire, and she does the Seven Rays book. A lot of those they all have their finger in a lot of reptilian lore and magic that deal a lot with a snake or a serpent.
Mm.
And it's more like my outlook of it's a void god illusion at the same time, and that serpent eating its tail eternally going climbing through the scales is, I look at each scale on a cosmic serpent as each life to be lived on the scale, that serpent that just seems to kind of infinitely go on, stretch in the void, down void, everything that's in between it. There's these gates. It fascinated me so much. So I'm attracted to a lot of reptilian lore, folklore, Loa witchcraft and voodoo that works a lot with this. They call it the red and black snake and things.
Well, yeah.
Because
So
it's
with that whole
very,
belief that whole belief system that you're in and
yeah.
you're following, and you a lot, where does the mainstream religions like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, like where do those stand in your mind? Like this is just complete horse shit for the garbage can, or is it just like is there a disdain for them or dislike, or is it like you don't even acknowledge it of its existence? Like obviously it's a little bit impossible for Christianity, especially here in the U.S. because that's the main religion. But like, what do you, with your belief system, like what are the thoughts yourself and I
Um,
guess the general consensus of people that follow what you're into? Like, what is does the Christian God? Is it like this is just so fucking ridiculous that like how can anybody even follow this, or like where's the general stance and like your stance and
well, I was raised Catholic. I
right?
went to Catholic grade school, St. Hugh's in Philadelphia. So my family was heavily into that. So as a little kid, you're taught to fear. You're taught fear and guilt, fear and guilt, fear and guilt for thinking and believing something outside the box of what the paper book is telling you.
You're correct. I mean, Acheron says it. Acheron fucking says it the best, dude. It is a false belief that is based on fear.
And who wants to go through life constantly afraid and feeling guilty about anything and everything you think, feel, and say and do?
And realistically, think about it too. You know what the hilarious part of it all? That I can't even believe that any of these brainwashed zombies even follow it. Anything pleasurable is bad for you. Anything.
Well, like I said, there's a special place in hell for me for all the times I masturbate.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying, like, yes,
I'm a guy.
everything's a
I'm a man.
sin.
What do you expect me to want to do?
Yeah,
It's going to happen.
but I
It's
mean,
going
right
to
down to
happen.
like people don't even consider this. Like, like if you want to talk about nutrition and diet food, right?
Yeah.
Everything that tastes bland or it's just like at best you're like it's edible is food that God made, is natural. Everything that
Right.
tastes like shit that's going to either, cause health problems, make you gain body fat, it tastes good. It's just funny how that someone's called loving God. It's like, if he was that great, why not make broccoli, which is practically calorie free? Why not make that taste like pizza and the other way around?
Right.
It's like he's fucking with you the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you're attracted to women, but you're not allowed to fuck them unless you're married. Just
Right.
everything is just like, why the fuck am I even alive then if I'm just supposed to be miserable? Otherwise, I'm going to go burn from hell. It's just, it,
Right. That's the guilt part, feeling
Mhm,
guilty for your
correct.
natural instinct. And when I got to be about probably 10, probably like 9, 10. But by the time I was 11 and discovering Venom and everything, I was like, at first it's scary.
Yeah,
Venom was scary at first. It was. I
yeah.
was like, what is this? This is The Exorcist putting the music. Whoa, I
Yeah.
got to hear this record. I've got to know what this record is. Even though I go to school and I'm probably going to need to go to confession because my mind was, I
Yeah.
was soaked in that.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, no, oh, I was an anti-Christian. Man, listen, if you were a kid in the 1970s in Philadelphia at that time, most likely you went to a Catholic school.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, when you're a
No, we
kid,
were born. No, it's
don't
me and my
have
brothers.
control.
We were born and raised Catholic too. I mean, not
Right.
super strictly, but yeah, that's
But you
technically
gotta
what we.
I'm sorry, but like I looked at it as once I started being told I was going to be a disappointment for what I thought and felt, how I was going to disappoint my family, and hurt others for questioning, not just for questioning why I thought I did. That right there was like, I'd be in my room in Westmoreland Street in my room, just like, man, this is bullshit. I just remember listening to Van Halen records, and Van Halen has nothing to do with it, but I remember at the time I was listening to Van Halen a lot at that time with Motorhead and Iron Maiden and everything. And I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. I hate this. I hate this. This is in the way of me feeling good.
Yeah.
Why is listening to Kiss, AC/DC, Motorhead, Van Halen, and everything so bad when it makes me feel so good? I was like, fuck this, man. And not just me, a lot of kids in my neighborhood, we all did that. We just didn't tell our folks.
Yeah,
But
of
it always
course.
turned into a good punk rock song, but it did. It created character, and it created the social demographic of the time period. And then you start getting like, well, I understand why the bikers do this against the cops, and the cops don't do this. So I looked at a lot of stuff as street level. If you can't make sense to me when I walk out that door, it doesn't mean shit. Because this isn't going to be able to compete with this if this is bigger than you. And if you act weak, this is always going to control you because you can't stand up to it. And that's how I learned. And nothing always beat a good smack in the mouth would always outbeat somebody that was a wise ass. It's just that's the way it was. And I looked at religion the same way. I'm like, well, you're a wise ass. You're telling everybody they're wrong for their natural instincts and feelings. And if they feel love and they want to be with this person and they do the act, I'm like, well, why is it only right if you say it's okay? And you got to, be a part of the community a little bit there, give out those envelopes on Sunday where the tuition goes up or things like that. To me, religion, I personally, the way I think and the way I thought of, it's an institution. It is a business.
Correct. 100%.
Just like I think the Church of Satan is a business. They needed each other to fucking coexist. There's Satanists I respect. Most of them I don't, period. Period. Because they do the same thing, just on the other side of that coin. And for all the, the girls out there wearing the nun outfits with the face paint and the blood and the beer can bazooka at their asshole and all, that's nowhere near impressive. You give me a black girl that came from the 70s that had to fucking switchblade her way through a bunch of fucking punks. That woman is going to be 1,000 times harder than your fucking your lollygag blood bullshit. It's just this.
Well, that's kind of like the metal scene in general. That's kind of the metal scene in general, dude. You ever notice? It's funny because and I'm sure you got the same, but it was kind of like more like rock and roll, because metal was a very, very new genre when you were coming into it. That's when the genre was new. So maybe your parents even know what metal was. They refer to it as hard rock or rock and roll. But me growing up, metal was an established genre, and my grandparents and parents heard about it. The consensus was, especially my grandma, was like, oh my God, you're gonna get stabbed at these shows and they make you worship the devil. And in hindsight, the most hilarious part is most of the people in the metal scene are fucking pussy ass fucking nerds. I was like, if you want to go to harsh shit, it's actually in rap and actual tough guys and shit like that. I was like, metal scene's a bunch of fucking wimps. What are you talking about? And not all, of course. There's true tough guys, and just so anybody in the comments knows, a tough guy never lets you know he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy when it's time to act. You never know what he is. Yeah.
And I learned that, Justin, from the bikers, from the warlocks and the pagans from Kensington growing up in the 70s. I saw the difference.
Yeah.
That was my way of learning. No wonder people don't, are afraid of these guys or they don't do this and this to them. but they stuck up. If you were cool with them, they watched after your house, your car, your kids. They were nice to you. As long as you didn't come and you shit in their clubhouse or put your nose in that front door where it didn't belong, you were fine. They never mess with your kids, your
I like
house,
the
your
mafia because I like to watch a lot of mafia
exactly.
guys, like
The
mafia
South
guys that
Philly
go on their
Italian
podcasts.
mob.
They kind of say the same thing, like the guys in the 70s and shit, like the Italian mob. Like, dude, it's not like
Yeah,
we were running around killing people. It's not like it was like that. It's like it was people that the people we killed were other
were stupid.
mobsters. He's like, it was
They were,
people
and they
like,
were stupid. They
yeah,
were
or you
crazy.
did exactly. You fucked them, you owed them money, shit like that. It's like we were just randomly driving by and shooting innocent people. It's like it was never. The mob was never like that. That's what they all said.
No,
I'm
not
not
that I've
saying that's
seen.
their words. I'm just saying they're saying what you said about the bikers.
I'm with you on that. I only say bikers because they lived on my block, and that's what
Yeah.
I saw. I can only
Well,
go by
you're
what I've
confirming
seen.
what they say because they say, yeah, if
Yeah.
you lived on their street in the mafia and shit, like you mind your own business and shit. Like, no, they didn't fuck with you at all.
No, they were fine. They were cool. But the whole religion thing, I kind of got off base here, I guess, a bit. I looked at stuff. Because I had to. It was the time period where I was. I looked at things. If it didn't make sense out in that street, it didn't belong. That's just how I looked at it. Music, art, you know, movies, pop culture at the time, that made sense to me because it talked to you outside of your family. That was a way of you connecting with something that would resonate what you're thinking and feeling at the time. Was an all natural, uncorrupted thing. Once you put religion into the fact, I'm like, now you're hindered. Now you're confined. Now you're judged. Now you're blamed. Now you're bad. You need to be prayed for. You need to be saved. From what? What? What did I do at the age of 10 that was so fucking terrible that the moon's going to fly with the earth, you know?
Right.
It didn't make sense to me. But when I started getting in trouble just by questioning, I didn't say anything mean. But the religion teacher used to say, when we got in Catholic high school, that's when I really, really 110% over the top flipped the script on that. Because we were told to open discussion. Okay, and I used to say, I'm like, okay, I'm like, well, why does it say this, this, and this? But the church does this and this for them, but not for them. Oh man, the tension. And I would say things, I'm like, well, if the Babylonians did this and they were communicating, they were learning, if God gave them the ability to learn and to reach the status, if he made them in their image, but then they started using the intelligence that he gave them and they started figuring his stuff out, he didn't like it and he punished them for it. I'm thinking, maybe these other tales that are in Sumerian and Babylonian, Mesopotamia are a lot deeper and broader, galactically broader and cosmically broader than we're ever meant to really understand as human beings. Our minds, I believe the human mind is only allowed to comprehend so much in a lifetime. I think it is designed that way. I don't think we started out that way because I think as human beings, there's something in our brains that we're wired to worship or believe in something. There's something there within us at some point in our life, which like you're wired to worship or you're wired to believe. It doesn't mean God or saying it, but you're wired in a way where you believe or in something
Well, I got a
where
question for you on belief,
there
then,
is a
Chris.
connection. What's that?
Curious what your belief is, then, since you're a belief guy of all shit. What do you believe then? Who built the pyramids?
I don't think it was anybody here on Earth that's here now.
Correct. I don't either.
I think it was definitely, and my thought, it's another civilization that existed in a long, long, long time ago when the solar system was young, and there was probably a power struggle. I think it was probably on a larger, more technical scale. You touch into the Star Trek, Star Wars end of it, but I think there's something to interdimensional travel, interdimensional existence that still goes on, that the governments of the world still have their hands in here and there. They have their fucking hands in this shit. They bullshit. They put the carrot in front of us, making us so it's this, and the real engine is in the back with the rest of them going, man, we got them. They're just going to follow the carrot all the time. If they break off, you feed them a different fruit to follow or a different thing to follow. There's always a way, as long as people are willing to have fear and guilt as a mass, not everybody, but if most have fear and guilt, and if they fight with each other over the same stupid bullshit, they just believe in a different head of lettuce than you do, they're never going to reach to the fucking real point of authentic spiritual
Well,
enlightenment.
you're kind of saying something similar, at least closer to what it seems like the top experts are saying. The top experts say this about the pyramids. It's one or two options. It's like either there was civilization that existed before us that we're unaware of,
Yeah.
that was wiped off the earth, who knows how, and all evidence was wiped off,
Yeah.
or it's extraterrestrials that have higher technology than we do. Because for anyone watching that's rolling their eyes, they don't know. If you watch any documentaries on it, basically all the top scientists and shit like that, if you go to the pyramids, it's physically impossible to be made by man. Even with our technology we have today, they're like the cuts and the carvings in these.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, there were slaves
No
and
way.
tons of old lips. I was like, doesn't matter if you had 100 million. Get that out of your head. It's impossible. Men cannot make this. I don't give a shit if you had 100 million, a billion. Man cannot make this. Like, we could not do this with the technology that we have today. Physically impossible. The accuracy of these cuts and shit like that.
Right.
They're like, we do not have the technology today. So how the fuck do they have it thousands of years ago?
You know what I think they might have been able to build them that way was these civilizations. They had reverse gravity A-wave engines, reverse gravity magnet that was somehow it was it was the same intensity as Earth gravity, but reversed, which made things float. But if you know how magnets are, you push them, they maybe something in the magnetic energy of Earth. They knew if you polarize it in a certain way, it would. You'd be able
Well,
to
shit that I've
control
watched, the
it.
scientists say what they say is like, yeah, they don't know how or whatever is made. Like, all we can say with 100% certainty, the technology that made this, we do not have on this planet. It doesn't
And it's still
exist.
radioactive.
So like, so
It's
whatever,
still
yeah, so
radioactive.
like whatever theory you want to use of how it was made is like, it's not physically possible to be made by man or today's technology. Point blank, period. Impossible.
Yeah, I believe
So
definitely believe it's way bigger than humanity's ever really going to. But I don't think people their brains shut off after a certain period because if like you know how we're human beings we're taste touch sound we need to most people I'd say probably 85% need to see it in front of their face before they go oh my god yeah it's true. That's what I run into mostly. And yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know because we're so souped in our everyday life. The head it turns off at a certain time
no, yeah, that's how I am.
unless you're
Don't get me wrong.
committed.
Even with the whole
Unless you're committed.
before anybody leaves the comments, like the whole pyramid thing, I don't really have an opinion. I don't know. I just find it interesting. But
Yeah,
when scientists are literally saying it's impossible that man can make this, it's
yeah,
impossible that our technology can make this, I'm just like, shit, that's pretty interesting. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know. I'm
yeah.
stumped. Like, I'm not gonna argue with them. They're smarter than I am. I'm not gonna be
But
like,
see, it
yeah,
makes us
bro,
think.
but they had 10,000 slaves to lift those. Like, I'm not gonna argue with them. I was like, if he says it's impossible, then I guess it's impossible.
But see, you know what you're doing when you and I, it makes you think.
Yeah. Definitely
And
makes
that's
you
a
think because
beautiful
at
thing,
that
and
point
that's
you
why
do now you're
I
it's just where
love
your
that.
imagination goes. Like, okay, well then who did make them? You're like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The possibilities.
Yeah,
That's why I like the occult so much. Because there's not one standing thing. It is a free thinking, chaotic realm of the heart and mind. You get to go purely
sure.
and you just create it the way you go, and that's how you mark it. I like that. I could be completely bullshitted left and right and go through every false door at the end. I don't know, but I like where the journey's taken my heart. I can at least say that. It's where it's taken me to do it. It feels the most natural to me.
Mhm.
So why not? And why not make this in that way? Because it's how I'm learning it,
Yeah.
and it does it. It puts my operation into reality a lot more. I'm putting something down that I've learned at a time period that that's where my head and heart was. 1999. It was that. That's where I was. And like I said, the Necrovore demos, the Pentagram from Chile, Incubus from Florida, they were that sort of intense playing and style was the connecting factor of the energy I was getting back. That I was like, oh, that's the intensity I want. I hear it in these bands. Wow. When I read this, that's what I'm thinking of that sound. It's really great. And it sticks with me so much. I'm like, I always liked them when I first heard them. But I got to finally hear, 90, 91, I finally got to hear 990. Finally got to hear them in '90s when I got the tape.
Who's that? Necrovore?
Huh?
Necrovore?
Yeah. Yeah, finally got
Oh, so
that
you,
tape
oh, so you
sent to
didn't
me.
get it. You didn't get the demo in '87 then. I figured you would have with at your age.
No, I didn't get that in '87. I read about it in Aardschok. They had an article about them.
Okay.
But I didn't get that tape till a couple years later because, tape trading. I thought, oh shit, I got that. I got the Necrovore and all 3 Dismember demos on the same tape.
Okay. Okay.
I got the '88 demo and all. I got that all in
So like a
'90.
band like this. Well, okay. So what did you hear first then? Did you hear Dismember's Like an Ever Flowing Stream first, or did you hear the demos first?
No, the demos. The
Okay. So
demos.
I'm curious. You're an old Dismember fan from the very beginning. You heard the demos first. When the album
Yeah,
came out, then what did you think? Did you like it or hate it? Because sometimes, like
I
me, like
liked it.
with some of the bands I hear their demos first. I'm that
Yeah,
guy for newer bands, newer than you. And then when their album comes out, I'm like, oh shit, this is like what Don and Jim were saying. I was like, I'm kind of disappointed. I was like, because it doesn't sound like demo. But you did like the
right.
Dismember album?
I did like that album because I thought it did reflect where they were going.
Okay.
So it made sense to me why they sounded like that. Just like I thought Entombed's Left Hand Path, even though I Nihilist, but I'm like, it's the same thing though. It's just they got put on record. I'm like, for me, those two albums for me, they were my benchmark for the Swedish death metal sound with those 2 albums for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think that. Yeah.
And then Grave.
Yeah, sure.
That that's me. That's but all that stuff, it's still an exciting thing. So, but I never looked at Bloodstorm like it's just black. I started out more like that because that's the energy that I went. And I'm like, well, that black metal resonated more with the way Exploited was and Broken Bones and DRI and Discharge. It was more of that, GBH, with Venom and Motorhead. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I get that. Plus, I was new to writing guitar. I was, like I said, everything on that first album was self-taught, except for bass, because I was already playing bass. So I was progressing on instrument as time went on. So by the time I got Pestilence out, I was better at the guitar. I was
yeah, sure. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more here, a bit more there. And a lot of it was because the heavy Necrovore influenced so much.
Well, were you doing any back then? Were you doing any shows? Because you said you're new, like,
yeah. Yes, I did.
Because I never really see any flyers like Bloodstorm. And granted, you weren't really. I mean, you weren't far from my area, but far enough, I guess. Like when you were doing shows, then who was the live lineup, and like how often were you doing shows, and like who was doing what then all live, since you were doing majority of the stuff on the recordings?
So you're talking what, 95, 97, all that between there. See, I was working with Absu then, so my head playing wise, I was always just rehearsing their music when I was off because I was their session player, So I was just rehearsing their albums over and over and over. I made the demos, but I was always rehearsing those albums. Not until I got done the '97 tour when I got off of that. That's when I started playing shows. Playing in New York more so. Playing at Wetlands, North
What were
Jersey.
some shows you did? Like, did you guys headline? Did you open up? If you opened, like, who'd you open up for? Like, where? I don't know of any Bloodstorm shows. Like,
they're local. Oh God. Well, I did the first Bloodstorm show. Let me think. It was Milwaukee Metal Fest? It might have been.
Oh, see, I never knew you played Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Metal Fest '96.
I never knew that. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time, and I had a guy Mike playing bass at the time. And I was hanging around.
Was the first album even out yet? Because the first time was '97, wasn't it? So you just had the demos out. That's it. And you played as a. Now, how did people react? Did they like it?
I think there was snobbery there because I was an American that was wearing face paint and playing black metal style. So I'm not allowed.
Exactly what I said at the beginning, dude. Right?
Pennsylvania, and I'm like,
what I said, dude.
I don't fucking care.
It's what I said at the beginning of the video. It was literally like black metal, almost like. Especially back then, it wasn't accepted if it was from America. It had to be from Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden. You know what I mean? It had to be from overseas. If it was in the U.S., it was like.
I got called all kinds of names in magazines. I did. I got some magazine in Germany, heard that Bloodstorm demo, and they said, it's it's shitstorm and all that. Crush it, burn it, kill it. It sucks. And I'm like, okay. I'm an American that can't play. I'm not geographically correct. But I was like, that's okay. There's another one coming after that. What am I going to do? some guy in Germany don't like what I do because I'm not elite. I'm like,
well, okay, that's a consensus too,
never
and
stopped me
especially
before.
well, since that was the general black metal consensus in the U.S. back then,
Yeah,
and Milwaukee Metal Fest was an established fest. Why did they even contact Bloodstorm, a demo band only at this time? Why did you even get hit up to do it? I'm surprised they
Don
hit you
Decker.
up. Oh, Don
Don
Decker.
Decker.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know
Of
Don? Okay.
course. Anal Blast.
Don, yes.
Yeah.
Don was very nice to me. He
Hmm.
liked me a lot. We when I was working with Absu 95, we did that, the Milwaukee Metal Fest in 95. I got to meet a lot of, friends with a lot of the vendors there and, hang out, talk to people. I made friends with the sound guys, Fish and John. I hung out with the sound guys
Well,
more than I hung out with other
how well
people.
did you know Don Decker?
I only knew Don when I met him in 95 and talked to him. We talked on the phone. I told him about me doing Bloodstorm. He was interested in the demo. He heard the demo. He liked it. He's like, I'm going to put you on Milwaukee Metal Fest. I was like, that would be great.
Because
So
what people don't realize, because there's a lot of Gore Grind fans and stuff like that watch this that might not know Bloodstorm, and it's funny because
yeah,
they like a lot of these guys, not necessarily just the grind guys, they like to rip on me for like an early Cradle of Filth. It's like, dude, you realize a lot of these guys that you worship, they did too. Don Decker liked a lot of black metal, and he liked
he
Cradle of
did.
Filth. I know because
He
the
did.
time I met him, he had a Cradle of Filth shirt on. No, he had Cradle of Filth sweatpants on, and on top of that, the Anal Blast logo. That's why it looks like Cradle of Filth. I was like, he was a black metal fan, and he likes that gay ass Cradle of Filth that all you guys like to make fun of me about. Just like the band Moonblood, they love Moonblood. That's true cult black metal. Guess what? Look at an early photo, buddy. He's wearing a Cradle of Filth shirt in it. They all like to overlook that shit, but they like to make fun of me.
What shirt
Look
are
at
you
this.
wearing? What shirt are you wearing? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's just funny because they call me out. He's like, he likes that hot topic black metal. I was like, so do all these bands that you idolize, you fucking knob.
It's fun. Hey, what are you going to do? Because, yeah, like you said, this is what happens. This is what goes on, especially
Yeah.
at fests. I mean, I was never a Cradle of Filth guy. I
No,
never
I didn't
saw like,
expect you. You're an older guy, and that makes sense. Like you're like before that shit. Like you're older than Danny Filth, I'm pretty sure. At least
am I?
Gorephobia was before Filth. That's for goddamn sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not, I don't mean it to be like that, Justin. I'm not trying to be like that about it. It's just, I maybe it probably is my age because I looked at Merciful Fate and Venom and
It's your generation. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your generation. It's 100%
yeah,
what it is,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
There's no doubt
and
about it.
more of a Motorhead Saxon put into it. So Raven and stuff like that. I'm from that, and I didn't think of it outside of that, other than just I'm going to have this look. Okay, yeah, well, I get that from Celtic Frost and Nasty Savage and Voivod. That's where I get that look from. And Carnivore. My first Carnivore album is huge influence on me lyrically with Gorephobia. I think I said that in our last interview
Yeah,
was
Carnival. You brought
Killjoy.
Carnival. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, from
Yep.
Season of the Dead and the first
Yeah, you
Carnivore.
definitely said for vocals because it was for the
Yes.
Gorephobia vocals. You said Carnivore, Necrophagius, and who was the other? Maybe it
Uh,
was Repulsion. Maybe it was Repulsion.
Repulsion is definitely a big one. Yeah,
I think
Repulsion's a
those
big
because I asked you for the vocal style because
that.
that low growl vocal when you were doing
Yeah,
the demo, that was people
right.
don't if they don't do the math, that was new. That was
Yeah,
new.
it
Like
was.
the first band to ever probably do that low growl outside of like Cam Lee, although it wasn't low like that. But the low guttural would have been Carcass on Reek of Putrefaction. And
Yes.
outside that, honestly, other than that, Carcass, Reek, and even Symphonies, no one really started doing it until the actual 90s, 90s. Like, think about it. Like, be like, well, no shit, that's the next year after. I was like, you're not hearing me, numbnuts. Because if you listen to the first Deicide album, the first Cannibal
Right.
Corpse album, they're not doing low growls on those. The first Malevolent Creation album, a lot of these, Morbid Angel wasn't doing growls at
True.
all. The really low where it became common on albums was albums like Butchered at Birth, and then Legion by Deicide, Suffocation, which was all a
Mm.
couple years later. Gorephobia's demo was 90. You were already doing those low vocals. Again, I'm not saying you're the first one, but it was extremely early on. Again, before even Cannibal and Deicides.
Well, back then I remember, besides me wanting to do it that day, Will from Mortician and Ross from
Yep.
Immolation.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Three. That's what
And
we
Big Willie
liked.
Romer, he's the king of lows
Yeah, we
today.
loved it. Yeah, yeah. That's the only tone you're going to get from Will.
Yeah, oh yeah. I always
But
said, dude,
that's him. That's how
there's
he
no
is.
highs, there's no screams. It's just
No,
it's all
he's
low
the
as fuck.
same guy. He's the same guy I met in 1990. He
Yeah.
is the same. Just like King Fally, the same guy from 1990.
I believe it.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the
so
only difference about King don't do drugs no more. He said even by his own count, he's like, I don't drink coffee, brother. But he's got
yeah,
like more energy than any human being I've ever met.
yeah, yeah. Even he didn't do like low. But he's a little bit older than me. I think King is. I think he's a
I
little
think
older
so. I
than
think
me.
he's like 50. I think he is. I think he's 56 or 57.
I,
I'm
he
almost
he
positive
definitely
he is.
he had more trading ability than I did. Fortunately, I used
I
to
think
tell him I was
King
like,
was born.
dude,
You said you were 71. I think King was
yeah,
born in 68. I think
yeah,
so. Yeah.
and yeah, I was just like, dude, man, you had more ability to get your hands on things than I did. Luckily, Philly was it wasn't that easy to get a hold of metal stuff in those days. It
Well, correct me if
wasn't.
I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Philly's, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But in my mind, Philly's a fucking shithole, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, where I moved from was very nice working class neighborhood. There's like four boroughs that I think were the best in Philadelphia. Besides downtown, where everybody thinks they're artsy fartsy, they think they're Fiddler's Green there. Every the
Okay.
rest of us are not, and they're Fiddler's Green. Yeah, so that's what I call Center City, Philadelphia, Fiddler's Green. A whole
Okay.
bunch of fucking Anthony Hopkins characters living there.
Okay.
Just jerk offs who just they had the most punchable faces you could ever see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
I
know?
do. There's a lot of people that need to be punched in the face.
Yeah. And some of the women, oh my god, they look like get hit in the face with a bag of shit. Some of them, holy
Oh,
shit.
man. The type
Um,
of chick that you want to fuck with a 10-foot pole and with beer
uh,
goggles on.
all right, no, you want to kick him in the face with a fucking dirty box of cat litter, man. It's
You're
cool.
like,
You want to
fuck, dude.
do?
I'm as straight as they come, but I've seen better looking dudes.
I've seen better heads come out of zippers than some of them people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, just like I mean, there's Bridesburg, Port Richmond, Mayfair, and I would probably say Liberty Heights. Because Ronhurst got shitty. Ronhurst got shitty.
Well, how were the shows then in Philly? Like then, even in back in
Oh,
the day, like were those shitty or like was it good? Like a good area for shows, like stuff coming through is what I mean.
um, again, the truth of it is, and I think I touched on this before we talked. Most people, I'd say 90% of what I ran into, and my brother was a little older than me. He's 67, no, 68. Frankie, oh
Little
shit, I
older.
forgot my
Fuck,
brother's
he's a
name.
lot older.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than my brother Frank. He he had a friend, this guy Bob. His uncle worked at the Spectrum Theater. Spectrum was the stadium for the Eagles and Phillies baseball back then,
Okay,
and that's where all the big rock concerts would go to. You know,
sure,
you see, Joan Jett was big there. Big Joan, she played all the time there. Queen, David Bowie, everybody used to play at this big place. So
sure.
his friend was an uncle that you can get tickets there. So my brother got to see Triumph and Twisted Sister and Motley Crue when he first came out, and Rat. He got kind of submerged in that due to the fact that he had a friend that had free tickets.
Yeah, he's
So
just
my
getting it for
brother was
free. So
more
it's like, yeah,
green,
like, yeah.
and there was boobs and ass everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, those girls were painting their pants on their asses. You know what I mean? You know,
Right.
but they look good. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say they didn't look good. They look good, but
Yeah.
it was a fun, exciting time. So if you were a teenager at that time, shit, it was it was paradise for a teenager to be able to do that. I was the Motorhead Venom guy. My brother, they didn't like any of that shit. They thought it was garbage, man. They hated it. Like,
I'm
your
sure.
little brother listen to that fucking stupid shit. Da, 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 da. But
I'm sure. Yeah.
the middle ground for all of us was punk music. It was
Okay.
Exploited, it was DRI, it was
Dude, I gotta
GBH.
interrupt you. You mentioned the Exploited at least 10 times, so I just gotta know. Did you ever
Yeah.
see my Waddy from Exploited interview?
No, I didn't get to see that one. I didn't realize you
Oh,
did one with him.
it's in person and it's fucking great, dude. It's about 45 minutes
Oh,
long. It's me in person. Watch it, bro. I mean, it needs subtitles like a motherfucker. You can't understand shit that
yeah, but
guy's saying.
from what I know, I liked him as a person back then.
He
So
was funny as fuck. I'll say that. I couldn't understand a
yeah,
goddamn thing he said, but I mean, it was a really good interview. And there's people, maybe because Exploited is one of their favorite bands, but I've had multiple people tell me, like multiple, like that's the best interview you ever did. So
that's
definitely
cool.
check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to. Thank you for that.
Just because you brought him up multiple times, so I just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have respect for what they did. People started to turn their backs on him but he got famous. He said once they got famous with the Dead Cities, he's like, the punk scene didn't like us. And he's like, well, what do you think we're fucking doing it for?
Yeah.
We're in the scene. So the scene got big because we're doing what we like to do. And you all are in on it. Why? What's the problem?
Yeah. No,
See,
because
I don't
these people,
understand
they
that
did that,
logic.
dude. All these, again, a more modern reference. All these fucking asshat fucking posers, and I've called it out on the channel in recent times. That's what they did with a band like Toxic Holocaust. And I was like, I was like, you guys are idiots. I was like, you're getting it twisted, like, because they're calling them Toxic Hollywood and sellouts. It's like, selling out is completely changing what you set out to do for monetary value. Hence, the biggest fucking sellouts example is Metallica.
Yeah,
They purposely changed and commercialized their music solely for the purpose of money. Toxic Holocaust basically has played the same goddamn record over and over, and they just so happen to get popular. Doing
right.
what you have set out from the beginning and you get popular and now you're making money off, that is not selling out. You stay true to what you're doing. There is a huge fucking difference. And anyone, when people call out people that are
Yeah.
true and doing what they're
Hmm.
true to do, and they're mocking them like they're a sellout or a fake, I just want to punch them in the fucking face, because
What do
you're
you think they're
literally,
doing it
you're
for?
making fun of the wrong, you're attacking the wrong people. You're attacking the true. That
Right.
doesn't mean you have to like their albums. First off,
Right.
you're
You're
disliking
not
them.
going to like
Just
everything.
you're disliking them. Most of them is because they got popular, so it's cool to hate on them.
And you didn't.
Correct. It's just annoying.
That's the way I
I
see it.
get it. Like, just like all the people that started hating on Cannibal Corpse and Deicide. It's one thing if you're like, these later albums are kind of boring. They didn't do it for me. 100% understand that. But when they're ripping on them, I'm like, dude, Glenn Benton still sings about killing Christians and fucking worshiping Satan from day one to now. Cannibal Corpse still sings about zombies and killing people, low vocals, blasting drums, etc. Both bands. It's like, that's what they did in 1990. That's what they're doing in 2025. That's not selling out. They just got popular. There's a
Yeah.
huge fucking difference.
Yeah. I think for me, the way I guess whether I look at Bloodstorm is I like so many styles that there's certain ones that are always going to top and be the ones that dominate. But I value music. I mean, look, I even told you, I'll sit and watch Tina Turner concerts. Like in Tina
Mhm.
Turner, I'll watch the 3 Degrees. But then I want to sit there and watch a full Venom concert. I want to watch a full Motorhead concert. It's not, like I said, because of the way my mind works, I like contrast, and that comes with the street level growing up I had. It just becomes the way life in the 70s was in Philadelphia on the street. That the contrast was so workable, and it created an environment of energy that I'm thinking, well, you got it. You could take that energy, absorb it. You can always turn it into something that is yours. I find that an interesting thing. So if it comes out different, it still can be you, but it's going to be different. But it's part of what you always been. If you can see that, I think there's a brilliance in that too. I'd rather be I'd rather be disliked for all my right reasons than to be liked for every single wrong one. Or
Yeah,
because
sure.
some hot pair of tits at the end of the bar thinks that I'm this cool with it guy, so I'm going to be with him today because he's with it. Next week I'll be with so and so.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want to do it with I'll talk to them. I'm not going to say I don't appreciate them being there to show her, but yes, thank you. I'm glad you like your handshake. I don't need to be all over you, and I don't know. I'm glad you're there, and I'm glad you like it for whatever reason. If you like it, thank you. Thanks. I hope you like the next one. Boom, and do the next one, and just keep going, and just keep moving, man. You got one chance on this rock to do as much as you can with the limited time you got. Have a good fucking time with what you got, man.
Yeah.
I learned that from Susie Quattro. I learned it from Lemmy. They all say it. Have a good time with what you're doing, because you, at the end of the day, are the one's going to have to face yourself. It's either
Mm.
going to be your way, or you've given up,
Yeah.
and you should hang it up because you've given up on your dream. Whatever it is, you got to do it. I like differences. I can't take 800, sarcophago copy bands. I can't take it.
Sure, sure.
It just burns the shit out of my ears. I can't take 500 retro thrash bands
Mm.
because there's something about it that's too forced.
Mm.
it's too like conditioned.
It's like a formula they're following.
Unfortunately, the biggest area I see it the most still is with girls in the scene.
What do you mean?
Unfortunately, like I say, and I can't help it, is cryptid. I think that
Is that the
they could play.
Brazilian band?
Yeah, they could play me under the table. Hey, man, I
Play-
think that drummer. I think that drummer. She's. I think she would be excellent in a more, how can I say, uncorrupt field of a band. She would be phenomenal and push a band. I think the field would be larger with someone like that. You know, for that. I think it's a stunt, and they still get stuck in this fucking stunt. I just been hearing these things about this band Dogma, which I never knew what the hell it was. Apparently, it's some invented band by a corporate guy, ADI or something. He goes by a corporation, or it's like a dude put a girl band together wearing nun outfits and corpse paint. And
Oh,
apparently, there has
I don't know anything about it. I didn't hear about this one.
yeah, I stumbled into this on the internet just a couple of days ago. You know, you're thumbing through stuff like we
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And I'm like, who the hell's Dogma? I've heard it. I was like, is this? I thought it was a movie at first. Here
Uh,
it's a band, but there's a backstory where, excuse me, some business guy put a band together, I guess from South America, and they just switched members. It just a really there's nothing authentic about the band's creativity. It's a corporate created band with all these girls popping in and out. I'm like, that's a problem. To me, that's a problem because they're sucking the juice out of somebody that's really got something good and authentic to present.
sure.
So if enough stupid people get involved and give all their money and attention to that, well, it takes away from the women that their heart and soul is just like yours and mine. They love this music and they're doing it their way. They just happen to be women, but they are doing it in the same field. Man, celebrate that for what it is, not the tits
Dude,
in the
put it this
ass
way,
and the
if
stupid
you want a
stunts.
band that's already gonna get if you want to get a band that's gonna get more recognition right out the gate, regardless how good or how bad or how mediocre it is, have a hot chick as your as the front man. Now the
Quick
thing
sell.
is that it's gonna already get more attention, which is weird as fuck to me. And again, I have no problem with chick front bands. I mean, I like the
No.
band I like Savage Master a lot. I think they're fucking great. And some people are gonna say, well, what about so and so band that nobody cares about them? It's got a chick front man. I was like, a hot chick front man. There's a big fucking difference. I didn't say some goddamn fucking elephant man looking chick. If it's a good looking chick, it just gets more. And it's weird in metal. It's like beyond about it's like all these fucking weirdo reclusive 40-year-old virgins. Like you never seen a pair of tits and ass. I was like, and if you want to see chicks doing music, I mean, like you said, there's Tina Turner, there's Madonna, there's Britney Spears. Like you do realize
Dear
there's chick
Monica
shit out there.
Lost.
Like why do you need a metal band, a chick like you don't there's porn's basically free, right? Like what like I don't get it. Like it's very, very weird to me. It's like, did you like the music or not? Again, I like Savage Master. I think they're awesome. I think they're fantastic. I liked every album by them. I recommend them. It's a heavy metal band. I recommend. It's a chick frontman. I didn't like it because it's a chick front. Because I think the shit's good, you know. But there's people that I know for a fact. There's people I can even name by name. I won't because I'll get a fucking earful for it. Uh, it's nobody I'm affiliated with, but they they know who I am. I know who they am, and I'm pretty sure someone watched the channel that I know they like a few bands because it's got chicks in. I'm like, dude, god damn, you're fucking pathetic.
It is. But like you say, man, I mean, because you're in the business of it, so you're going to see it way more than I do. You're going to see a lot more than
That's why I call
obviously
out my channel's known, and granted, that's what people they like, and I got to run with what people want to hear. They love me calling out the posers and the fakes and shit like that. And then some people are like, well, who's this guy? I'm like, I'm not saying I'm the authority on metal, but kind of like you said, I am in the business. I run the world's largest online metal store. That is a fact. There is no online
Yeah,
metal store that has more titles than we do. None, zero, zilch, on the entire fucking planet. I was like, so you don't think I see your thing or two? You don't think I see some stats? I
right.
was like, and that's poser shit. These trend hoppers, people that come on and off. I was like, I see it, dude. I've been doing this for 25 years. I know. I was like,
Yeah,
I have again, my word isn't law, but it's a decent gauge as opposed to what are you going to listen to? Some 16-year-old that started up a YouTube channel who just had hair on his dick for 2 years and been listening to this for 6 months. I'm just
yeah.
saying, I think my word has a little bit more authenticity than his, but
It's
and
going to
that's what people want to
outlast.
hear about.
it's going to outlast because there's a track record, and there's a legitimate track record of what you do with consistency too.
Yeah.
The consistency, I think, does mean honesty to a degree.
1,000%.
And that's a good one.
And consistency also shows reliability.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's you're solid.
Yeah.
You're just solid. You know, that's just the way it is. It's for me. It's the same thing. The only other music I do outside of Bloodstorm is Dennis Sin, and that's only if it synchronizes with the other people I want to work with. You know, because and only doing that because I don't want to. I always thought it'd be cool to be in a band that was more like Acid. I'm just a player. I want to be the Malcolm Young of the band. I want to sit back there with like Jim Rowe or somebody, just play and let like a good heavy metal woman like Ann Boylan from Hellion, Kate Lambre from Acid, Betsy Bitch, Wendy O. Williams, somebody like that to lead that charge, man. Like a Bon Scott woman, like boom. Like that would be so cool. And do it more of a raw rock orientated, not so much a black, more of a raw rock and roll sort of, you know, that heavy metal drive of like, you know, like Helix and Saxon and Jaguar and all that stuff. Just boom. Like a little bit of that would for me would be fun. But to do anything else, I just do it in Bloodstorm. Why would I don't need to go anywhere else. Yeah. I just do the album. I mean, I have a lot of different sides to me. The next album I'm already doing, it's going to be different. It's already going to be different. I've already got 2 songs. It's going to be different. But I like doing those albums and songs really based on where I'm at in my life, matched with what the guy that I've always been, checking myself. And I learned to do that a lot. True, is from Susie Quattro. When I read her autobiography, I'm like, my God, she's brilliant. She gets it, man. Boy, she had shit thrown at her left and right. Most of his days back in those days, I mean, Tina Turner, that poor woman. I mean, used to get the shit kicked out of her, man. You can see footage. I don't know if you ever watched any of her shows. You see bruises on her arms from Ike. You could see.
The first time it was a stupid fucking. First time I heard about Tina Turner getting the shit beat out of her was that movie Liar Liar. We're with Tina Turner. He said, "Hit me again, Ike. This time, put some steak on it." I just knew that line, so that's I was like, "Oh shit!" So I guess Tina Turner was getting the shit kicked out of her.
Yeah, that movie. What's Love Got to Do with It? I have that.
Yeah, but Jim Carrey says that. It's just funny what he says that.
But when and then I heard that he had like it was found out later that he had a mental disability that would make him like that. But
Jim Carrey?
But he was doing coke with it, so it made him a maniac.
You talking about Jim Carrey?
What's that?
You talking about Jim Carrey?
No, I'm talking about Ike Turner. When he
yeah. Well, that mental disability and coke that'll bring out an interesting personality, to say the least.
Oh God, yeah, I couldn't be. There was quite a few of my met in the scene that were nuts like that. I'm like, I can't be around these guys, man.
Yeah.
You know, I never drank beer. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I hold these in my hand because this to me helps me relax. It's an occult thing. I don't know. For me, scent, smell is a really good natural instinct and sense to use to help me think. So I usually sit there with these a lot. I used to bring them.
So even as a teenager, you weren't one of those party kids that drank at all as a teenager?
Okay, I was the guy that would sit. I would hold the money, the keys, the wallet, watch the door. I would govern the radio.
You being in a band, because I'm not, again, I'll drink a beer here and there sociably. I've never been hammered in my life. I think that shit's stupid as fuck. And my first beer, I didn't have my first beer until I was 22 because I was like, this shit tastes like shit. I was like, everybody that drinks this is a fucking idiot and is annoying as fuck. I can't stand being around. Yeah. So, but dude, you were in actual bands, and that's what most bands want to do is they want to drink and party. So you had to been more fucking annoyed than I was.
Picking people up out of their vomit.
Yeah, dude.
In public, it's like, dude, can we sit down and eat a meal without you act like a fucking 5-alarm fuck up jackass?
Yeah.
I want to eat, man. And then we got to get on the road for like fucking 6-7 hours and drive. And we're going to smell each other's fucking farts and feet for the next day.
What I hate too, especially like when the night's kind of over and it's clear, it's like, dude, I get up and I get up early and I do shit. Like they want to stay up and party. I'm like, dude, just go to bed, you fucking little child. God damn. Now I got to stay up all up because I got to babysit your dumbass.
You know what I used to do, Justin? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would socialize with people after shows. No problem. I loved it. I love talking to people. I love it. Without them, these don't go nowhere. Without those people there. I think it is important to talk to everybody. I believe that. It is. It's important, man. No matter how odd they may seem, man, they're there. They took their time that they don't get back in their life to be there tonight with you to celebrate what you're doing. Give them at least 2 minutes of your time, man, and tell them
Oh,
thanks for being.
I don't wrong. I give a hell of a lot more than 2 minutes. I'm just saying,
You
like,
know what I'm saying? You got to
yeah,
go, shuffling through people because you want to
yeah,
get the leather off because you're fucking sweating your asshole off. You
yeah.
know, you have to go to the toilet a lot because a lot of times I like to drink iced tea on stage because it helps my
Okay.
throat. I'll eat a
Yeah,
chocolate
yeah, I can
bar
see it. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
have some iced tea, and it helps,
yeah.
especially if you got a smoke machine because it dries the shit out of your mouth.
Oh, I can see.
So,
I can see it. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, 100%.
so I'll eat like a Reese's cup or Hershey bar and have iced tea with it because it coats your throat.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I
Okay.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
a nice big cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
swig it down with chocolate, and it
Yeah.
helps. But afterwards, the other guys they want to hang out. You see them, they're doing lines, they're drinking. I'm thinking it's one. I'm like, dude, we got to get up at like 7 tomorrow. If we go now, you'll get 5 hours of sleep, but you ain't because
See,
you're
that's how
doing
I
coke.
think. That's exactly how I think. I'm looking at my watch. I'm
Right.
like, how much sleep am I going to get?
You're going to be complete ass all day in that fucking
Yeah.
van.
That's exactly. I'm literally thinking the next day. I'm not thinking like right now. I'm like,
Because you got to
I was like,
perform.
tomorrow's fucked now.
That's the way I think. I'm like, we got to perform, and you're only as good as the last time that person saw you. So if
Yeah.
you are dog shit, everybody's gonna be like, that band's dog shit. You can
Yeah.
have 110 great shows. If you were shit that night and that person had the mouth in the community, you were done. You were cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, Chrissy Hine used to say it, and the Pretenders used to say that shit. Just all these people, they said it. All these rock stars, you can't be ass and then expect to be, everybody to like you.
Yeah.
Especially back in those days, there was no synchronized tapes. And if you couldn't get up on that stage and play that guitar, drums, or sing, that was it, man. You were done. You were
Yeah.
done. They fucking. I'm a big Who fan. Keith Moon with the Elephant Tranquilizers. I don't know if you'd like the Who, but I love early Who.
That's
He
before
passed
my
out on the
generation.
drum kit.
That's your generation. Cradle of
Yeah,
Filth's mine.
yeah. The Who was huge in Philadelphia for us.
Oh,
They were
sure.
a
What do
street.
you mean? They're huge everywhere.
They were in the '70s. They were a street level rock and roll band that resonated with the kids in
Yeah.
Kensington. Them guys in AC/DC were like, we got it with those bands because those were hardened. The lyrics in this were very hardened for us to understand what they were talking about, what we thought when we got done off the street and in the house when you're by yourself, like, what a fucking day. There was this fight, this fight, this fight. This girl hates me. That one hates me. I love her. She loves him. That whole Love Stinks song. Jake Oz, I love that song. Love Stinks. I love that. It's funny. You go through all that fucking broth of oblivion. And those bands were there, man. Just like I say, Motorhead's music to me, it was the one band the entire career. Failsafe. I loved every one of those albums, and I wasn't trying to be biased. I looked for shit to be wrong. I
Oh, so
never
even
found for me.
all the '90s albums that a lot of people don't like, you like those?
Yep,
Okay, okay.
yep. I played them all the time. Sometimes I play them more,
Yeah, because
depending on my mood.
albums like Inferno and shit, I thought those were good albums. You know what I mean?
Bastards. That was a great album right before Sacrifice came
Yeah,
out.
Bastards does have some bangers on there for
Burner.
sure.
That song Burner opens up. Bam!
Yeah.
That's it. Goes. Wow. But it's everything about that. It's and truly how Lemmy is as a person. It makes it so much more dynamic because they're relatable people. Well, and they're flawed to the point where it's like they live their flaw. They eat it like it's they eat that flaw like it's a hunk of sirloin steak. They eat that shit. It don't poison them. They eat that shit, man. And I'm like, that's how you survive. That's how you can survive like that. And I'm like, and Gene Simmons used to say, I know he's a prick. And I think his solo album, I hate his solo album. Oh, what a disappointment. But but he is fucking right. He's right about what he says about shit. He's right. You don't get there that far being an idiot and being wrong. He's right.
Yeah.
He's like, the more if they talk about you that you're not doing right and they hate you, the more popular you are, then you'll even know it. He's like, if you're talking about me, you're thinking about me.
Yeah.
Boom. He always used to say that, didn't he? I mean, I don't know if you can remember any Gene.
I've heard that line and people use it. And to be honest, I've kind of stolen it. I've used it on the channel. I was like, because with the people talking shit, I was like, dude, you're literally taking the time out to message me. So trust me, you're on my mind. I don't even know what your dumb ass looks like. I don't even know your name. You don't even exist to me.
And that's a win for Justin Harville and Hell's Headbanger Records. It's true.
Yeah.
Be mad. I say, like I said, I had my in the early scene. I'm going to go back to that too. People we played with, more local guys that were kind of like us that hung around us made bands. So they were on the same playing level as we were, and we would just do small club shows in areas that would have us. They were usually in the low income areas. They were usually in the black neighborhoods. So a lot of brothers and sisters would be like, "Whoa, look at these guys coming in here!" Blah 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 blah. So, but
Sure.
here's the thing: being a bus driver, I worked around so many black and Latino women.
Oh,
I didn't,
you can jive with them, yeah.
well, the way they talk, I didn't take offense to it. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
don't know. They don't mean nothing bad by it. Because for me, the reason why the older I got, the more I'm like, I have a lot more in common with black women outside the metal scene than anybody.
Dude, it's funny you say that. Like
I
you
fucking
must
love them.
we got more in common than you think. I've said this a million times because it's funny because Hell's Headbangers gets accused not as much. People are like this racist label. I'm like that literally makes
Oh,
zero
I
sense.
got tagged with that
I was like,
racist shit,
do your research, stupid dumb. I was like, that's a dumb. You realize how much of an idiot you look like by saying that. But it's funny because I've always said I was like, dude, I actually, as far as complete strangers, I've always gotten along with much better with black people, black guys, especially at the gym, etc. They've always taken to me. And the only chicks that have come up and hit on me, like they come up to me and hit on, not that that's often by any stretch of the definition, but when it has happened, every single one of them was black. Every single one of them.
And you know what's funny about them? When they come up, if they're coming up to you, they like you, and you know how to even
Yeah.
question.
Oh, dude, they made
They're
it
not
obvious.
wasting their time
Dude,
on those
mine,
foolishness.
I didn't need to ask. They point blank were telling me they wanted to touch me and shit like oh
Yep.
goddamn, just fuck. I mean, why
There's
don't you just
no
take my pants off
guessing.
and suck my dick?
There's no guessing. You're not an
Yeah,
emotional
you knew 100%.
tampon,
Yeah,
as Sam
yeah,
Kinison used to call them emotional tampons. He's like, you're not an emotional tampon. You got to
yeah.
guess what mood you're in and
No,
all
I
this
knew.
other
Yeah, you knew.
crap.
You
He's
knew
like,
100%.
I
I was
don't
like,
know, but
I
I
mean,
like
granted,
him, and I like.
every time it
That's
happened to me, I was already married. But I was like,
yeah.
oh shit. Well,
A black
I
woman
knew.
comes up.
Yeah.
I experienced the same. A black woman comes up to you, like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Hey man, what's going on? You hanging out?" I'm like, "Hey, right there. I like you. You know why I like you? Why? Because I like the way you talk to me and you treat me. I could be around you." Boom. With them all the time. They used to take me under their wing. They knew I was a single dad with little kids. They were
Mhm.
the only they were the only people that helped me out when it came to boots on the ground, eyes on the scene, or money in a wallet. It was a black woman. The
Mhm.
past 6 years. I'm not saying there wasn't, but predominantly in my environment, they were the only ones when I really, really needed. People will say a lot of sweet things, and it's nice. I appreciate people's warm thoughts and wishing me well. But when it came to really needing help, they were the only ones that ever really put their foot forward and helped me.
Yeah.
And that's all I know. And
Yeah.
and I know, and they for that level of trust, especially coming from a lot of them ladies who were shit on so much by their dudes, were
Mhm.
coming up, and I'm like, man, that says a lot. That made me feel I'm like, well, I know they trust me because if they're coming
Mhm.
up to me the way I look or whatever,
Yeah.
then I know I'm safe. I don't have to worry about being judged. They didn't judge me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about nothing. They knew I was in the rock and metal. It's like, hey, they thought it was fun. They thought it was cool. They thought it was wild. They were, a general interest to know me as a person, not because I was in a band. They know me because you're a different dude, and you know what? I like dudes like you because
Yeah.
you're fucking real. I don't have to fuck. You ain't fucking got. You're real. I like you. And when they're like that with you, it's like shit. I don't have to worry about you know. You don't have to worry about what other girls you're friends with and all. Because if they didn't like anybody, shit, they would just tell you. You didn't have to guess who they didn't like today. It's like, no, I ain't dealing with them fucking goofy people in this scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm mad at her now because she did this and she did that, and she's with this band, and I don't like this.
Well, Chris, I got a 10% battery notice like
Oh, okay,
18 minutes ago. So I don't
sorry,
want this
we're off topic.
in case this what no, that's where they always lead all my conversations. But we've been out just at 2 hours anyways, or just slightly over 2 hours because I think it was like 10
Oh
after like
shit,
we started recording. No, it's good. So it's a good
fun to talk to
episode.
you. That's why.
But yeah, but before in case the thing cuts out on me and I gotta take a massive piss, is there anything you want to shout out last or we should bring up? I mean, like I said, the Bloodstorm Pestilence from the Dragonstar LPs. If they're not out when you see this video, it's out any goddamn date. We've been taking pre-orders, links in the description box. But is there anything you want to include too before this thing cuts out, Chris?
Okay, very soon. And thanks for making those shirts. They came out excellent, by the
Oh, you
way.
got them
Thanks
in
for
there? So
the
you did get the
t-shirt.
box?
Not yet.
Okay.
You sent them to my
I
Mystic
did,
Lane.
but I took forever for you to get the address stuff. But I sent them out earlier this week. So,
I'll get them soon.
yeah.
I live in a complex, so the
Yeah.
mailbox is right by the main office, and I
Yeah,
know them.
the t-shirts and long sleeves of the Dragonstar. Yep.
Excellent. So thank you for that. Very soon, I think Cheryl has already Satyrian Reptiles out now on Barbarian Wrath. That's out. It's 11 songs. It is going to be put on vinyl in mid-January. Cheryl's taking pre-orders to make a vinyl.
Oh, cool.
Just taking some money. I'm sure.
That's Cheryl, which is Brew.
Which is Brew Cheryl.
Yeah. Yep.
Doing Barbarian Wrath too. She's taking on both duties.
Yeah, okay.
She's
Yep.
keeping up the contracts for Hartmouth. She does excellent work like yourself. Very reputable. So that's coming out next. That's already out. I'm sorry. That is out with them, and it also is available digitally. I am trying to work on redoing some more Den of Sin songs, which is the other band I was talking about, where I would just play guitar. I'm working on new Bloodstorm songs. I always write and record. I have 2 outline book ideas I'm trying to work on. So I'm want to try, before I shut my eyes from this earth, I'm making an honest attempt to try to do 2 books that I want to try to write. I know I'm putting that out there now. You put it on internet land, it's going to be, hey, what's he doing? But right, I'm trying. Right. But thank you all so much that if you give me 10 minutes of your time, whether it was 1990 with Agoraphobia, or it's 10 minutes right now to Jay for Bloodstorm, your time is valued. You never get it back. Thank you for giving me that time at all, anywhere in my 40 years of doing anything. Thank you so much. Your time is priceless to me. It is valuable to the stars and back. I don't have enough words of gratitude other than just thank you for being a part of what I do in any form. Thank you.